be here. We've had a little bit of an adventure, as you all know, but we worked it out and we're here, and I'm very glad for that. Glad all of you are here. How many first timers have we got with us? Just out of curiosity.
Wow.
Really? We got a lot of first timers.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate that. And all of you who have joined us for the not first time, thank you for joining us again. We're glad you're here again. And you can join us at Vicksburg. It's our second time here. First time we were here was in 2020, a year that most of us don't want to remember, but we had a really nice time outside the park. This year we're going to be inside the park. And I want to say a big thank you also to the Friends of Vicksburg for keeping the park open. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to do this. So if you get a chance to go online at the website, give them a donation, help them out. They would appreciate it. I would appreciate it. They have been a big, big help.
There's a donation box inside too.
Donation box in the
anybody has cash. No
visitor center. Very nice. Okay, good deal. Also, for those of you who are going to be with us tomorrow, Bjorn Skaptason is with us. He's going to be giving us a hike tomorrow. If you're not planning on joining us, please change your mind because Bjorn is great. Tim, we know, everybody knows Tim is great. Bjorn is great too.
No pressure.
Don't miss that. So, Rick, Martin, where are you, Rick? Rick has an announcement to make about trying to keep us safe in the park. So, Rick, why don't you take over here?
Let me welcome you to Vicksburg National Military Park. I used to work here. You've been up to Shiloh, so you probably know Stacy Allen. Stacy and I were co-workers, so to speak. I was his counterpart here. And I'm a licensed battlefield guide now. Morgan Gates is another licensed battlefield guide here. But, you know, we got Tim Smith, so he wrote the book. You know, the only thing I want to make sure that you do here, so you've been here before. I don't know how much walking around you've done here on the ground, but you're going to find this is very different from up north here. A lot of gullies, a lot of ridges, and there may be some places where we may even turn around, and we'll just see what happens. But we've got fire ants here. I don't think you'll, so you know where a fire ant looks like. If you don't, you see these little hills around, and sometimes you don't even see them. Typically, I keep on moving back and forth when I'm on the ground. The other thing is, you know your abilities, where you can go and where you can't go. So, you know, we're all adults, so, you know, you have to make those decisions. If there is a problem, let me or Perry or Tim or Morgan know, and you know, we're just going to have to call 911 if we need to do that. And so I'm just saying you need to be careful out there. The ground is wet from the morning dew and such, and so it's going to be slippery in places. Also, there's a lot of holes in the ground from this type of dirt here, and so we're going to be going in grass that might be waist deep in places, you know, getting down into these ravines and such. So be careful where you're going. That's all I've got to say there. I'm looking forward to the day. I hadn't been with this group before, so it's going to be a good day. Anybody have any questions about the park? All right. One last thing, I'm going to piggyback on the Friends group. We wouldn't be open if it wasn't for them. I'm just telling you right now. You heard there's a donation box in there. They've got rack cards that have a QR code on them, or you can go to the website. But please, that's the only way the park is staying open. They started out with $2,000 a day. After 20 days, they couldn't do any more, and they're paying $650 a day as we speak today. And it's only going to be open for sure by tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the last day it's going to be open, unless they come up with some more funding. So it would be really helpful. You know, a couple dollars goes a long way. Tim?
I got a question. How
Yes,
many
sir.
visitors a year does this park get?
We're lucky if we get around 600,000, somewhere thereabouts.
It's a lot.
But, well, that's not. When I came here in 1998, we were getting over 1 million. But, you know, don't forget, we are not necessarily a destination park. We are a park on the way. If you're going to Dallas and Atlanta or Memphis and New Orleans, we're kind of there. They see a sign and they stop here. They aren't crazy like some of the people in this group.
It should be a destination. Okay, that's my perspective. I agree. Thank you, Rick. Appreciate that. All right, I guess we're ready to go. I'm gonna turn things over to the man of the hour, Tim Smith.
All right.
Welcome. Hey, Barry. Hey, on logistics, how's this all going to work?
We're gonna follow Tim.
Okay.
Fixing to tell you.
Okay. That's
Very good. Welcome to Vicksburg. Good to see a lot of old friends and new friends. Hopefully, after today, you may not want to be my friend. I don't know. But welcome. We're got a pretty day for it, and that's good. It's going to warm up later on, so that'll be good. Appreciate Perry getting this together, and of course Bjorn's here, and he'll be leading tomorrow. I really appreciate Rick. He went over and beyond for us to get us to where we could do this, and there's so many, you know, this is the government. There are lots of rules and regulations, and to do something like this, we have to have a battlefield guide. And so I thought, well, I know not just you know, all the battlefield guides are good, but we got the main guy. Aren't you the president of the Guide Association, or
By vote.
by vote?
Don't mean anything.
He's also, he was for what, 20-something years here, the chief ranger.
17.
17 years. He's also a brigadier general, retired brigadier general. So don't mess with it. If he says do something, do it. Okay, or not to do something, not to do it. Okay. Very quickly, let me just give you an idea of what we're going to do, how we're going to do this. We can't get into the park for 4 more minutes. I don't know if they got the gate open yet, but this is going to be a little different than what we do at Shiloh or what we did at Fort Donaldson. There we went and we got out of our vehicles mostly, and we hiked all day. And it's normally what, 10, 12, 15, 27 miles, something like that. This is going to be different. If we took the tour route, the tour is what, 16 miles around. You can drive that. There's no need in it. It's just hiking the tour route. So what we're going to do is go to specific spots. And if you are there brochures available that people can get, maybe out in the little kiosk or something. You may want to get one of those. But we're going to go to specific spots, and each one I'll tell you where the next one is. Stockade Redan, where we're going first, is tour stop 5, correct? So if you get lost or something, go to tour stop 5. That's where we're going to start. And so when we get there, we're going to kind of lay out the situation, and then we're going to hike the actual ground, the ravines that obviously the soldiers did, not necessarily what you drive through. And so we're going to pick our spots and then do the hikes there, and then get back in the vehicles and go. So it's a car caravan hike type stuff. And so it's not going to be 10 or 12 miles today. It's going to be actually relatively few miles, but they're going to be some doozies of some miles there. This group likes to talk about Deal Branch Ravine, and Deal Branch Ravine is a mess, obviously, and I enjoy taking y'all across that just to listen to y'all complain, kind of thing. But I fully realize y'all love it, and that's what you come here for, to see stuff like that. I've been doing some work in Jomini and Clausewitz talks about, the military philosopher talks about that you can push soldiers to the point, and Rick, you see if you verify this, that soldiers are as proud of doing almost the impossible and the heavy marches and the fatiguing stuff and all that as they are almost winning a victory. You push them to the limit and they're proud that they did it, and so I think y'all are a little bit like that. So we're going to push you to the limit today. Now that said, at each spot, just like Rick said, we're going to be able to see. Fortunately, they had the wisdom years ago at some points in the park to clear cut it like it was in 1863. So you can see across where we're actually going to go. If you think, okay, maybe this is not for me, we're going to give you an off ramp each time. And so what I will do is tell you, all right, this is where we're going to go. If we live through it, if you want to live through it for sure, you can go around the road and meet us over there. So there will be an off ramp for you if you think, okay, because seriously, we don't want to get anybody hurt. We don't want to do anything like that. So that's what it's going to look like. I've picked out about 4 or 5 depending on time. I'm not sure exactly how. At Shiloh, I can pretty much pinpoint how long we're going to be on doing this and all that. Not that, you know, I am familiar with Vicksburg, obviously, but not to the point that I am of Shiloh. And so I'm not sure in terms of exact timing and all that. So, but we'll play it by ear and do several of those hikes like that. So that's kind of what we got in mind. Now, to do that, we're going to have car caravan. Now, how many people we got here today, Perry? This is a big group, 30, 40 people. We can't take 40 vehicles, folks. We're already kind of treading on thin ice just a little bit anyway. We can't take 40 vehicles, so we don't need any lone wolves, you know, stubborn people. I'm taking my vehicle no matter what. Let's get in as few vehicles as possible. It would be good to get it down to 10 or less, probably. I've got to take Rick with me at the lead so he can tell me where the best place will be to park and all that kind of stuff. Morgan will go with us. I can take 2 more in my vehicle. Is it against the law to ride in the back of a truck?
It's not, but it's probably not a good thing to do.
Okay, all right, well.
I mean, you're in Mississippi, but...
Yeah, did anybody pick up a monkey on the count the monkey? Anyway, all right, so the point is, let's please get it down to as few vehicles as possible, and when we start, we can, because the more vehicles, I'll never know. I can't see numerous vehicles back to know whether everybody's with us or not. Anyway, so let's get it down to absolutely as few vehicles as possible. Nobody take just your sole vehicle, one person in a vehicle. That's just we don't need to do that. Okay, so with that said, have I forgotten anything?
I got one more thing.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
Tim said stock 5. That is on the Union side of the stockade redan. But what I want you to do is we're going to go just up to the Graveyard Road, and we're going to park at the Confederate fort at the stockade redan. So you've got to go past stop 5, take your left, which is Graveyard Road, and we're going to go all the way to the end of the road, and then we're going to start establishing a parking area so we don't get in trouble with the ranger that we're dealing with here. So
Stockade Redan is doorstop what?
On the other side, it's 10.
10.
On the
Okay.
Confederate
All right,
side,
10.
it's 10.
If you get lost, go to 10.
But if you don't make a left on Graveyard Road, then you've got a one-way all the way
Yeah, you got to
around.
go around.
So
to the
it's
Grand
very
Headquarters and
important
back.
if you've never been here,
So
make sure
just-
you
just
make
follow-
that.
You can't go all the way
follow
around
us.
because that part of the road is closed. That's the part of the road that's
Yeah,
closed
but
up there.
Okay, very good. Just follow us. I'll be in this white Nissan truck here. Sure exactly how many we were going to have, and if I had known, I wouldn't have made that many copies anyway. But I did make a few copies of some maps that I'll be dealing with, so I'll keep a set. And if we want to, like the group over here, maybe can look at them. You can hold them up a little bit, and maybe a group over here or something. But I just want to give you kind of an overview before we actually start the hike. And the hike that we're actually going to do is from that ridge over there. We're going to go down the road, come out at that ridge over there, and then through this ravine and up toward the Stockade Redan. That's where the attack took place. Now, just a little bit of background. You can see on this map, this is Vicksburg. Now, they're not all, they're different maps, so you'll only look at one at a time.
Yeah, they're all.
This map shows you the defenses of Vicksburg. Here's the hairpin turn of the Mississippi River, the city of Vicksburg, and then the Confederate defenses. The Union forces will ring Vicksburg, of course, mostly to the north and to the east initially. And then as the siege continues on through June, it's only mid-June or so until it's really airtight with the addition of Lawman's division and then Heron's division farther to the south. But most of the action that we're going to talk about today in terms of the assaults and the approaches will occur to the north and to the east of Vicksburg. We are at the Stockade Redan right here, right on the northeastern corner of the Confederate defenses. This is the Stockade Redan itself right here. Now, what some historians term as the Stockade Redan complex, that's an Ed Barr's term, and if you knew Ed, he kind of brought in some of the World War II terminology. For instance, the artillery would drop trail,
Combat patrol.
Combat patrol was sent out, so there's some modern terminology in his Civil War stuff. But Ed was a legend, great guy. I got to lead several tours with him. Tell you one Ed Barr story. We can't go to Vicksburg without telling an Ed Barr story. And so one day we were doing a tour at Shiloh, and the group was in the film, and he and I were just standing in the museum waiting on the group to come out. And I may have told this story before, I don't know, but we were just standing there, and of course Ed would just out of the blue pop out with something totally new, and he said, "Tim, what's your worst fear on a tour?" I said, "I don't know, Ed. I've never really thought about that." He said, "Mine's having to take a crap." Well, yeah, that's true, Ed. That's right. That's it. And of course, was instrumental here at Vicksburg. Really great guy. Okay. All right, so with that map, this kind of gives you the overview, and I don't even know where the maps are now, if y'all are even still looking at them or not. But I will try to hold it out. Rick bought maps. I don't think we actually, unless we can put them back in the car, we're not going to lug them over there and then back here. I think we can just do it with this. We'll try it. We got any volunteers? Anybody? This is like the Army, never volunteer for anything. Okay. This map, we'll go to this one a little bit. We'll show you kind of the layout, a generic layout of defenses and how it all works. Now, what you need to think in terms of Vicksburg, and this is just elementary type stuff at Vicksburg, but think in terms of layers. What you see out here, see all these tablets, see all these monuments, see all that stuff. There's a bunch of stuff out here. Vicksburg is known as the art park of the world. This is how many, Rick? How many?
Over 1,300 monuments, memorials, and markers.
1,300 monuments, memorials, and markers. There's a bunch of stuff out there. Now, if you're just looking out there, it makes no sense. There's stuff everywhere, right? But there are layers here. There's a lot of stuff that occurs here, and that's why I like to come to the Stockade Redan first, because initially when Grant approaches from the east, this is the east, that's the north, when he approaches, he's going to initially assault Vicksburg, of course. He will do that on May the 19th, primarily here at Stockade Redan, and that's what we're going to look at in our hike this morning here. That will fail, of course. Then he will assault again on May the 22nd, and that's all along the line, and we're going to see some of those as well. That will fail. Then he goes into siege operations, and he will begin to what's called, in terms of siege warfare, approaches, or saps, where you dig closer to the Confederate fortifications that we're standing at. Oh yeah, I remember I was talking about the Stockade Redan complex before I got off on a tangent talking about Ed. Here's the Stockade Redan, Greens Redan, where y'all parked initially. This is 27th Louisiana Lunette. So there was a stockade, a poplar log stockade type wall across right where we're standing right here. So there's a complex of about 3 fortifications within the larger complex, but that is the Stockade Redan itself. Now this is part of what you'll see on this map called the line of circumvallation. What that is, this is the Confederate defenses. Actually, this is not the line of circumvallation the Union line is, but this is the line of Confederate defenses here generically. The Union then will correspond to that with a line of circumvallation that will be their initial line matching the Confederate fortifications. Then, and it would be better to do it upside down, I guess, like this. Then when you start the process of moving closer, obviously you can attack across these ravines, which we're going to do, and they did it, May the 19th and 22nd. Those fail, of course. Then they start siege operations, and you start digging approaches, and then you get to a line called the first parallel, and then the second parallel, and then the third parallel. And so if you look, the initial line of circumvallation, we're going to walk over there and see it, is on that ridge over there, but they're forward lines, and you'll see it as we go around. That monument and that blue tablet a little bit farther forward, that is a parallel that is established a little farther forward. This ridge that the Graveyard Road cuts through, that's another parallel closer to the Confederate works. So what they're trying to do is get closer to the Confederate works in order to do two things. The whole idea is to get closer so that, number one, you could assault, and if you get up that close, just right here, you know, how long are you going to be under fire if you attack from there rather than across from the ridge over there? You're much closer, and as a result can be on them just like that. Now the other thing is to start digging mines under the Confederate fortifications, and they do that here as well. And you dig a mine under the stockade redan, fill it full of powder, touch it off, and what happens? Boom! And so that never happens here. It does at the 3rd Louisiana Redan, which you're going to see tomorrow with Bjorn. Now, they do dig mines. They don't blow them here, but they do dig mines. So you're trying to get closer. Now, all that said to say this, when you're looking at all of this out here, it all means something, but just looking at it in totality, it makes no sense whatsoever. What you have to do is connect the dots in terms of the specific layer that you're looking at. So what we're going to do is look basically at the May 19th assault of Giles Smith's brigade. And so if we move to the next map here, you will see Blair's assault, May 19th, 1863. Here's Stockade Redan right here, and you can see General Blair, Frank Blair, division commander in Sherman's 15th Corps, will launch an attack against the Stockade Redan. This is the Graveyard Road right here. So Ewing's brigade, which you're also going to talk about tomorrow, we're not going to deal with it today because Bjorn's going to detail that tomorrow, is going to come up right over here. You see some of those monuments and all of that? That's dealing with Ewing's attack on May the 19th. Some of it will be some May 22nd stuff as well. Giles Smith is going to come right across this valley right here and up this hill. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to follow Giles Smith, and if you're looking at regiments, got any ancestors? 6th Missouri, 113th Illinois, 116th Illinois, 13th U.S. A notable member of the 13th U.S. was George Washington's great nephew, I believe, was actually killed here. One of these monuments will denote that. Then the marker right there. Kilby Smith's brigade will straddle the Graveyard Road. So as we walk down the Graveyard Road, there's going to be part of it on one side, part of it on this side. So all the attacks on May the 19th will occur toward this point right here, all across this major terrain right here. So what we will see are several of those tablets dealing with the May 19th assault. Now what you will also see, there's heavy action here on May the 22nd. And so most of that will occur right along the road itself. So a lot of those monuments and tablets along the road will deal with the May 22nd assault. Then, when those assaults fail, you get into the siege operations, and there are about 3 or 4 approaches, those parallels and saps from the line of circumvallation as they move forward toward the Confederate fortifications. Lightburn's approach will be right over here. Some of these tablets, in fact, if we went down to that one right there, I can't remember specifically, but I think it'll say something about Lightburn's approach or Buckland's approach, something. But Lightburn's approach right over here. When we get down into the valley down here, we'll stop at that sign at the very bottom, and it'll say something about Buckland's approach right here. If you go along, you go along the Graveyard Road, you'll see something about Ewing's approach. So all of these are approaches that are taking place during the siege itself. Now, to get even more confusing, when we come up the hill right here, and we're going to come up right here, you will see several of those signs down in there talking about a gallery right here, a gallery of Ewing's approach. This is where they dig under, and I think I put a map in here if y'all want to look at that. Let's see, Bjorn may be doing more of this tomorrow, but Ewing's approach stockade redan, you can see the sap, dump for main gallery. Here's the actual mine that is dug underground, air hole, new dump, main gallery, coming up basically right where we are. So some of those signs we'll talk about, you know, right here was where the main gallery turned, except underground down there, digging under the fortification there. So point is, there's a lot of layers of stuff going on here, and so as you see some of these signs as we're moving across, don't just think, okay, this is a big mess. Think, okay, how does this connect with the next sign for Buckland's approach, or the next one? And you can follow these approaches just perfectly as you come through. Okay, so that in itself is kind of the layout of this. Now, what we're going to do, again, my philosophy of these tours, and you know this from Shiloh, my philosophy is not necessarily to give you just a whole bunch of big information in a formal program and a lecture and all that kind of stuff. You can read the books. You've probably read the books. If you haven't read the books, I can name some pretty good ones. probably go to. But you know the history. I will give you enough to lay out the history for you of what's happening here, all that kind of stuff. But my main point in all of this is to simply let the ground itself speak to you, really more than me speaking to you, because you can't understand what's going on here until you get out and do this type stuff. You can ride around the roads all day, but you're not gonna learn a whole lot down into the nitty-gritty of it until you actually get down and you do this. So let the ground speak to you. That's what's so important about battlefield preservation. I see several people with the Civil War Trust, several people who've got these trust hats on. It's a very worthy cause, and fortunately in the 1890s, in fact in 1899, the veterans preserved this part for us so that we can come do stuff like this and enjoy it. So that said, that's what we're looking at. What we're going to do is go down. We'll make it easy for you to go down the graveyard road, and we're going to wind up on the line of circumvallation over there, and then we will start this way past that. See that biggest tree? You see the two trees over here and then the big one? We'll come between those down in the valley and then charge just like Giles Smith's brigade did up that hill, trying to take the stockade redan. Now what happens, of course, is they make it to the ditch in front of the stockade redan. You think that's impossible? Under fire. They make it to the ditch. They're not able to penetrate into the Confederate works, but they make it to the ditch, and hopefully we will all make it as well. We'll see. All right, any questions on that? Now, again, your off ramp, if you get over there, you can certainly walk with us over there. If you decide, yeah, I'm not doing it, you can walk back around the road. We're going to wind up right here afterwards. So, any questions on any of that?
Move off the road right here.
Yeah, we got a vehicle
coming.
Any questions?
And the other thing I'll say, when we do move down the road, if you see a vehicle coming, let's everybody try to stay on the same side so they don't have to travel through all of it.
Okay. Pick a side. Tell us which side.
We'll do the left side. This side here, the north side of the road.
Okay. All right. Everybody get a drink of water, whatever you got to do. I'm going to take this thing off because it's getting warm already. Give me a second. Different layers. We're going to do the May 19th assault, but on May the 22nd, when Grant takes a few days and says, all right, let's do this better. Let's do it Army-wide. Let's prepare a little better. He will launch the assault at 10 o'clock a.m. on May the 22nd, and he'll do it a little bit different than what we saw on May the 19th. Now, on the May 19th, we'll detail kind of a linear type of formation. Ewing's brigade farther over there, Giles Smith, Kilby Smith astride the road here. So they're all lined up what we think of as in terms of, shoulder to shoulder lines of battle type stuff. That's the attack that takes place. Grant says, all right, that didn't work, so let's try it a little bit differently. And on May the 22nd, what he'll do is a series of kind of pinpricks, if you will. Did I hear? I thought I heard a car. Kind of some pinpricks, if you will. Think, who was it? Emory Upton at Spotsylvania. That kind of that narrow but strong pinprick through the Confederate lines there. We'll see it elsewhere. Updike at Franklin. That's more of a counterattack, but we'll let this guy through here. He will, come on through. I wouldn't come through this bunch. I wouldn't come through
coming
this
to
bunch
take a
either.
break. This is another guide here.
One
in
of
the
our
park.
guides. All right, very good.
You like to run over me while you go, what's going on? No, go ahead, Tim.
All right, good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right, so these pinpricks will take place. This is the famous Forlorn Hope. They take 150 volunteers out of Blair's division, and they'll send them forward along the graveyard road, not in a linear fashion, but in a pinprick kind of fashion, hopefully to break through, and then you can spread out into more linear and go both ways and roll it up the Confederate line there. So these 150 volunteers are supposed to take with them planks and ladders and all that to basically fill in the ditch that Blair's people found on May the 19th. It was almost impossible to get over. So you're going to fill all that up, ladders to get up over the parapet, all that, and then following behind will be Union infantry, again of Blair's division, Ewing's brigade, and they will move along in column, basically, moving by the flank, if you will, along the graveyard road in order to continue to break through there. So they will come through, they'll get a little bit of respite going through this cut here, but the second that they move out of this cut here, they start taking heavy fire. These are Ohio regiments, 30th Ohio, 37th Ohio, and you may have seen some of these monuments and tablets as we move forward. Here you're talking about Joe Mauer, who is leading an attack later that afternoon when the assaults restart. We'll talk about that later on. That's the Eagle Brigade, 8th Wisconsin, all of that. Here you see Thomas Kilby Smith. This one's probably talking about the May 19th assault. So again, you have to pick out which exact layer you're looking at, because if you just look through there, see all those monuments and tablets and all that, it makes no sense whatsoever. But if you notice them, some of them talk about Ewing's approach, some of them talk about the gallery was started here. That's underground, of course, going around in front of the Stockade Redan. But heavy fighting as Ewing's brigade on the 22nd pops through this cut here on the graveyard road, and they start taking some heavy fire from the Stockade Redan itself. Now on the Confederate side, we haven't really talked about them, but I have to mention the defenders of the Hornet's Nest, the Stockade Redan in Shiloh mode here. But there's some Missouri units there of Cockrell's brigade. Some of those are in reserve, mostly holding the northern face. And then you've got, of course, the Louisianas, 27th Louisiana Lieutenant, all that kind of stuff. Holding the eastern face here is the 36th Mississippi, which they are. Where's Jim? Is Jim still with us? Jim is the 16th Wisconsin guy. Who's always talking about the 16th Wisconsin. When he first showed up this morning, he said, I got a bone to pick with you. And I said, what? I didn't say the 16th Wisconsin won Vicksburg too, because apparently they won Shiloh. We have fun picking back and forth. But if Jim was here, I was going to say that even though the 16th Wisconsin wasn't here, the 36th Mississippi made the 16th Wisconsin retreat, wherever they were.
That's why he's not here.
That's why he's not here. Yeah. Anyway, he had an ancestor in the 16th Wisconsin. I had actually two ancestors in the 36th Mississippi surrendered in Vicksburg, and so they manned the lines right over here on the eastern front here. And I've often tried to imagine what they saw, and it's even occurred to me how many Yankees that they, shot. It's just the way that war works. But what they would have seen here is just would have been amazing. Okay, let's continue on. We'll get up to this ridge in the line of circumvallation.
There you go. Yeah, it is. 25 maybe.
They call it Whiskey Hill.
Notice these tablets, Union Tree, Matthew's Brigade. This is the line of circumvallation. Normally the last ridge before you get to the enemy fortification. So got a little bit of cover behind it, of course, but you can top this last ridge before you have to make the attack. So look at these other tablets as we go by them. Fire ant here. Really? Y'all didn't know that? No, there were no fire ants there. Yeah, there were chiggers and all of that. Yeah, but and reading the letters and diaries talking about the chiggers and all that kind of stuff, you're like, I know exactly what they're talking about, but nobody mentions fire ants. Somebody in this group will know more about it than I
Fire
do.
ants came in through Mobile in 1960 in the ballast of a freighter from South America.
1960?
1960.
I was thinking it was a little early, like 1909 or something. 1960, there we go. I knew somebody would know more than I did. So. All right. We've got a casualty over there. Not really. All right, everybody look this way. Everybody look at Rick. No, I'm kidding. All right. Okay, this is one of my favorite places on the battlefield. Again, looking at these layers, here we're starting the siege approach, and you see the start of Buckland's approach. For those of you that can't see it, I just kind of read it to you. Beginning of Buckland's approach to the Confederate line, work on it commenced about May 30th. The assaults were May 19th and 22nd, so here's a week or so later. In charge, Captain Young, by details, 1st, 3rd Brigade, blah, blah, blah. Approach was not carried close, but was finished by a parallel loophole for sharpshooters with sandbags, distance about 75 yards from the Confederate line. Lightburn's approach was started from this line of approach. So we talked about Lightburn's approach, Buckland's approach. You've been seeing signs about Ewing's approach. Now, this is one of those great areas that you can still see a little bit. You see how it's going forward? If we went back to this map, this is one of those line of circumvallation approach covered way, and then you get to the next parallel up there. We're going to walk up there in just a second. Then you start another approach from the parallel up there. Now, what you see at Vicksburg today, and our guides can help us on this a little bit. There's Rick, and it's my understanding that most of what you see today is not original. It dates from the 1930s, the CCC, in terms of earthworks and all that. What y'all's take on that?
I talked with Ed, and he's the one who reconstructed the main fort.
The stockade itself.
Yeah.
It just looks too groomed, and
It was a lot lower, he said, and he added to it.
Right.
So that's in the late 1950s,
Right.
early 1960s. But not manipulation, not so much any manipulation in this area from the CCC. Theirs approach is extremely manipulated by the CCC.
What you get from the original records, and that's where you always go back to, is that the Confederate fortifications at the end of the siege, what you end up with at the end of operations here, the Confederate fortifications are so pummeled by Union artillery and all that, there's hardly much left at all. For instance, the 3rd Louisiana Redan, every night they had to build back up because it just was so pummeled by artillery during the day, and eventually you get to a point where you're subsurface, you keep building up and you don't have anything else to build up. Same thing with Stockade Redan and all that. What little is left by the end of the siege is mostly in the Union fortifications, of course, but they are also basically filled in purposefully by the Federals, because if you think about it now, who owns Vicksburg at the end of the siege? It's the Federals. to be able to take Vicksburg, obviously you have to use siege operations and all of that. Well, if the Confederates somehow come back to Vicksburg and lay siege to Vicksburg, you've got ready-made line of circumvallation and approaches and all that. You don't want the enemy to be able to use that. So they fill most of this stuff in on the Union side. Most of the Confederate stuff is already pummeled down. So there's not a lot left that is heavily discernible like you see today. Now, there are some spots, and I'm guessing that this is one of those that is fairly original, and again, a wonderful, wonderful spot here. And you can see some of the signs of the first parallel up here. There's some more over near the Illinois Monument, Logan's Approach, and all of that. So there's out, you know, get off the road a little bit, and there's some discernible stuff, really cool stuff out here. Okay, so let's go up. You can follow the approach if you'd like to. It kind of winds around and makes a turn and then back up this way. We'll just go straight down this little thumb here and get a good view of the attack across this ravine here. So let's head on down. What each of these signs will do is lead you on the actual approach. Do a little bit of Shiloh here. This is the Shiloh discussion group after all.
You're good.
And so a lot of what you will see at Shiloh, obviously this is the Army of the Tennessee, although it was not officially the Army of the Tennessee at Shiloh, but that's splitting hairs a little bit. It is officially the Army of the Tennessee here. But a lot of those units, of course, will filter in and be the bulk of the force of Grant's Army here, particularly on the 19th and 22nd, until other units start filtering in. So here we have Battery E, 1st Illinois Light Artillery, Waterhouse's battery. Any idea? Let's do quiz time, trivia time. Where was Waterhouse's battery at Shiloh? Anybody tell me?
Ray Creek. Ray Springs.
Ray Springs, the Shiloh branch, that's the battery that's taken with Hildeburn's brigade as Johnson makes that looping flank attack there. And this battery will actually fall to most of the guns to Confederate forces as they're making that attack there right across Shiloh branch. Same battery though, different guns obviously, or they may have some of the same ones. But we're seeing here this parallel as we go forward. See the sign here, sign here. This is the parallel, and you stud that with artillery to help pummel, of course, the Confederate fortifications. So let's move up to the parallel. Oh, everybody get out. There's our park ranger. Alright, you see the parallel here on the line of Buckler's approach. Put in the sign down there. It says Buckler's approach on the line of Buckler's approach. So there's a parallel here as you move forward in the siege. Now, again, we're talking about the May 19th assault. And if you move over, whoever's got the maps, if you can kind of show them around a little bit, we're going to follow the route of Giles Smith's brigade as it moves on the northeastern face of the Stockade Redan. And you see the Stockade Redan plainly right over there. Okay, so here's do or die time. This is where we do or die, basically. This is your off ramp. If you think, okay, maybe this ain't for me, just go back around. You can go right back around the road. No, we won't make fun of you or anything in your hearing. Do I?
Like when I was
No, we totally understand. We don't want to get anybody hurt. It's a pretty steep hill now, but it will be worth it for those of you that want to do it. Now, if you don't want to go straight down, there is a little bit easier route if you kind of go around this tree and down the valley. You can meet us in the bottom down there if you would like to. Otherwise, y'all ready to go? Let's do it. All right, Union Brigade, let's assault.
Where did you go?
Well, I was in several different states Army National Guard.
Okay.
But I was in Iraq and Afghanistan sometimes.
Yeah. All my uncles my grandfathers were in World War I. And then they skedaddled out of Poland and Italy and came here. And all my uncles and my father were in World War II. But my father was lucky. Well, one of my uncles was too young for World War II, but he was in the National Guard for him. But my father was lucky that he got on the destroyer towards the tail end of the war and over. Now, his only brother, that was pretty tough. He talk about the initiation of the war.
Oh, bamboo's even here.
But Dad, had a real Tennessee library. I found a book by the guy who was at the Battle of the Bulge. He went back and he
Drop
read
off.
about the experiences. He even found his own foxhole he was in.
Oh man.
Ridge coming down.
Yeah, there's a drop right here.
Yeah, there's a drop there, I assure you.
I
don't know. Okay, there's a sign. If you can't hear, kind of spread the word back there. There's a sign right over here that says on the line of Buckland's approach. So you can kind of see another parallel. It's a little, there's a deep church. Kind of a, you don't see this one? But anyway, there's another parallel on the face of this this ridge here. Continuing Buckland's approach.
Alright, really steep right here, guys.
You got her? Oh, now you can tell. Just walking, you can tell that it's alone.
Alright.
That's okay. If you do, and I crumble up, it's freezing there.
You'll crawl out of it.
Sorry, man.
I have one at home and I didn't think of it to be hot, but you know, you can see it like that over my sideways and with all your feet will hold together. My day was just
Call 911.
It's a little better over here than
Now, imagine somebody shooting at us when we're doing it. That's premium package. Heavily brave trail, so I'm going to go this way.
That's what I'm thinking. Just crush me good and just leave me there.
Pro tip, these cane are pretty well rooted. They'll make a pretty good handhold.
I'm sorry, I'm keeping everybody.
Slow and steady will be just fine.
Thank you.
You're doing great. You got it.
I got it.
Oh, yeah.
My cousin's supposed to be. Okay.
Oh, of course.
If they had shoes. Oh, Union is better for shoes than it's called.
That was you,
These guys are just marched 180 miles up from the river.
Yeah. Look at the way the profiteers made the shoes and the uniforms are horrible.
All right, I remember that. Good.
I'll blame myself.
Alright, so now we're past where the air brakes is, and now we're going to see how you ran it through there.
Ferguson had cut all trees, but in the summer, I mean, you're gonna have grass, growing up. Probably not this far out. They mainly concentrate on Vicksburg itself, so I'm not sure there would have been much. Of course, they can't see this far inland. We do know that the Navy does shell the Confederate fortifications, and there's some correspondence back and forth, for instance, from McClernand's headquarters to the Navy. Hey, shift your fire a little bit. You're firing into your own, get close to your own line, so shift your fire a little bit to the whatever. Of siege operations, they begin to make different items that aids them in that, including gabions and fascines. And,
So this was all here? The bamboo was already here?
The bamboo, the reed stuff, cane is there, and that helps you, sap rollers, all of this that's instrumental in the engineering process of moving forward. It aids them. Now this is not nearly all our group. Are they still coming down?
I can still hear
What
them.
are the things you were describing?
Okay, a gabion, this dirt, you can cut it, and it's almost like cheese. It retains its form until it's either loosened or it gets wet. And obviously rain is gonna get wet. Loosen it, a cannonball hitting it and exploding or something, then it's gonna cave down. But it's pretty good dirt to work in. Now, to make sure that you shore up, for instance, your parallels or your approaches or whatever, you make what's called a gabion, which is basically a round basket. Think kind of a wicker basket. You take this cane and you bigger cane and you split it, and you use that as kind of the material that you weave in and out of sticks, basically, and you make a round kind of a wicker basket, fill that full of dirt, and that provides you basically a stabilized wall there, and you stack those on top of each other. A fascine is a long 6-8 foot long bundle of sticks, basically, that makes kind of walls. You can even amid the gabions, you can put fascines to kind of hold back the dirt, if you will, to make walls. A sap roller is what's in front of the guys digging the sap. Somebody was talking about coming down here under fire. A lot of times you want to zigzag the trenches. You never want to go straight on because that gives them a straight fire at you. So if you zig this way and then zag that way and then zig a little bit, you're always presenting a front to them that's not directly open. There are times, however, when you get to the point where you just got, like coming off this hill, there's no good way to do it. Somewhere's going to be in the Confederate fire. And so you got to use a sap roller, which is a larger version of a gabion, big wicker kind of cane thing filled with cotton or whatever to stop a bullet. That's what you roll in front of you, and you get behind and you dig as it's slowly rolled along, just to stop bullets kind of thing. So sap rollers, gabions, fascines, all of those are siege warfare tools that's made from the environment here, basically. Here we go. Are you the tail gunner, Perry?
Yeah,
Okay.
What was this? All tall grass, or was this cleared woods?
There wouldn't be woods here. The Confederates cut down all the trees. There would be some abattis, there would be some fences, there would be some sinkholes. Probably in the middle of the summer, there's going to be some tall grass. You name it.
Was it grazing land?
Most of the farmers would, and our guides will know much more about this type of stuff than I will. But most of the farmers cultivated the top of the ridges, and not so much down in the valleys. But in an open range policy, probably some grazing down in here as well. Okay. All right.
There were some animals down here prior to the siege, because like I said, there was a fence down here somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's to keep in.
And there was a corn patch of corn over here somewhere by the creek. So I remember reading about that as well. So.
Sandy, where are you?
He's back here.
Are you divorcing Harold after this? Guys, Sandy's going to be available.
Well, you get back Cobbly Hill for you.
Said no more Tim Book, no more Dr. Tim Book.
Uh-oh, okay.
No, she did scold me last night for not bringing the assault book down with us because she was wanting to look some places up after we drove around.
Oh, okay. The buzzards are already circling. This is bad. Okay, seriously, that was the easy part. We're going to attack up, but again, this sign, you can see this sign from the road up here, and I doubt very large percentage whatsoever of visitors to Vicksburg National Military Park come down here to see what this says. But you did.
There you go.
We need a T-shirt or something.
I survived the assault on
Buckland's Approach. On the line of Buckland's Approach, it was joined here by a trench from Ewing's Approach. Ewing's Approach is moving down the Graveyard Road, so there is a parallel here that joins Buckland's Approach, and then Buckland's Approach, as we saw earlier, will morph into Lightburn's Approach that's coming in the opposite direction. So there are a bunch of approaches. What some of the soldiers talked about, by the time it got near the stockade redan, it was almost like a honeycomb of just, you could go all different directions, moving toward the fortification there. Okay, everybody got a breather? We good to go?
I got a great idea.
Yes, sir.
Let's have our group picture here so they know we were down here.
Well, all right. That sounds good.
Pictures that didn't happen, right?
Everybody get behind the sign, I guess, looking this direction with the stockade redan behind us?
Yep.
Okay. That's the way we do it, or?
Yeah, but that would be our goal.
We're doing what have been here. I haven't built these lines of circulation all that. Don't dig it down. No, don't dig it down here until you get to the approaches. I've always looked from down here from up there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know some stupid things. That path looking very...
So wishing you Merry Christmas now. Okay, if my car doesn't get there, Mona. Merry Christmas. And is this Dennis? Huh? Is this from Dennis? Daryl. Okay, I know it was Daryl. I'm 67, I don't know what I had to do. And my phones are in between 9 and 11?
Yeah,
AM and PM.
I've heard that too. But
For whatever reason, they're my tonnings.
Big hole over here.
oh,
He found a quasi stick.
big hole. Actually, it's got some like
I mean, that's a big one. That's a hip breaker. That's not an ankle breaker, that's a hip breaker.
His wife drives an car.
And is that just due to the type of soil they have here, Mona, that it's penetrated that? Okay, that may be that unexpectedly. Or I'm thrown into that.
Barkley's the same way. Barkley's like he's blocker. Julie Irving came up to him and said, "How many cars you got?" He said 5. He says,
So getting down would have been a thing, but now bringing all that equipment and in an organized fashion. Can you imagine? Wow.
One compared to what they make now.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, you whip, double quick.
Is that a Civil War term? It's really good because they talk about bad mistakes of people.
He could be here today.
That's enough. Yep, that's northern Wisconsin. You have like Denver and too many of all Minnesota until my husband retires. 3 more years and I can go back to the home state.
You know he's good.
Yeah. Don't. He's in a union home. He's a journeyman foreman for
Outer of the bottom.
I got you, Mama. Yes.
The longer you're back, further back you are.
Yes. Everybody got the road. Oh my goodness, yes. No, and I think because that there was yeah. It's also like me, that was a wind sucker. Their baseball cap. This time in the house, they had another thing, but when you can take the baseball cap off. So, Carol was going to make it.
Okay. Well, he doesn't make flowers.
Okay, cool.
Wasn't it? I thought it was real nice. Get to me, y'all. Drive along. And that bus feel like, look at them fools. Look at them fools. The crazier tourists. This is why we're avoiding.
We won't be stopping here unless you're being affected. With their enthusiasm.
Yeah, but if you guys forward that way.
Don't you know there were comments made on that bus? We're all in this together. Oh, yeah. So you're right, there was something about that Bill Branford. It's so slippery, there's no foothold, and you're grabbing onto the tree and
Angle in the main gallery. The gallery will come off up here, just like that map shows you. It goes through this spine, underground, of course, over to there. That's the angle, and then it will go straight up. There'll be a sign up here somewhere. I can't see it right now, but there'll be a sign up here that'll say main gallery so and so. No, tunnel underground. Yeah, the gallery is underground, as opposed to this side, which is the south, the parallel off the south. Yeah, gallery will be underground. See this one? This is above ground right here in the south. Galleries will be underground.
bless you, Andy. Thank you. I think those who went before me were in better shape. So much, yes, thank you.
Whenever we get to the tough part.
You might regret saying it. Yeah. What was I saying last night about the 3,000 boys
That's a long time. It is. So when you get up the hill here, you can see this sign that says Ewing's Approach, end of main gallery. So that's where they dug from that sign that Linda was just at, underground to right here, and that's where they were going to blow it up on July the 6th when they're going to assault here. Watch those fire ants, yeah. Okay, now, everybody turn around and look. You can see our path where we came from. Do you see the various indentions in the side of the hill where the parallels are? And you can see our traces. We came down that ridge. Some of you went down that draw to the very bottom and then up. Isn't that cool? Deal Branch Ravine or this?
Deal Branch every day until
well,
Sunday.
I didn't make myself clear, I guess. Which would you rather go through? Which is tougher? This holds nothing, I don't think, to Deal Branch. We'll take a minute here to kind of rest since we're at the top. I'll tell y'all a story. Tony, you better cut this off here. Graveyard road all day and never realize what's going on. Now, the good news is we all made it. I don't guess anybody's still down there, are they? All right. We all made it. The bad news is this is one of the easier hikes today. What we're going to do now is, and again, give you an off ramp. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, and there are shorter ways that you can do it. What the group is going to do, or what I'm going to do, I don't know. Nobody may go with me. Rick, you got to, but what we're going to do is go back to the vehicles, and we'll get a drink of water and all that. We'll take just a moment up there. But then we're going to go down this little finger to see those monuments, tablets, and all that. We're going to go in the valley of Mint Spring Bayou, and then we're going to go downstream in Mint Spring Bayou to Thayer's Approach, and then we're going to go up Thayer's Approach. And y'all, this is kid stuff compared to Thayer's Approach. We're good with this, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm pretty sure there may be one or two of you. Where's Mike? You've probably done Mint Spring Bayou a little bit before. There may be one or two of you who's done this before, but I'm guessing the vast majority of you have never tooled around back in there. But that's what the group, if you want to, is going to do, just to show you a little bit more of the battlefield and the terrain that we're looking at. That's some heavy stuff back in there. But the vast majority of it, once we go down, it'll be even and level through a creek bottom, and then of course we got to go back up. So, and it's steeper and taller than this by a factor of what? Double, maybe? Rick? It's pretty tough. Now, if you don't want to do that, and again, we don't want to get anybody hurt, but if you don't want to do that, you can leave the vehicles here, and I guess conceivably you can even drive down on the tour route to Thayer's Approach. And I have no idea what tour stop that is. That's probably 9.
It's not a tour stop.
Oh,
but
Thayer's Approach.
But there's a
pull out there.
There's a pull out. You'll see it.
It's the one where you look over and the tunnel is down below on the other park road that you can't go on right now. Yeah. So that's what we're looking at. So if somebody
13th U.S. Infantry is here. You see Captain Edwards' profile there. At the end of the siege, going into August, Sherman is going to give them an order because they were the first ones to plant their flags on the fort here. And he said, you are permitted to be able to put 1st at Vicksburg on your colors. And of course, that was a great honor. And I guess it was 2 or 3 years ago, I had the 2nd Battalion of the 13th U.S. Infantry. The 1st and 2nd Battalions are at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. And they gave me a coin, and this is their unit crest. And what I'll do, I'll pass it around, but you can see they are still serious about being 1st at Vicksburg. That is on their unit crest, which normally they wear over their right side there. So I'll pass it around so you can look at it.
That's cool. There's also another connection. Mauer's brigade that makes the assault on May the 22nd has the 8th Wisconsin, the Eagle, Old Abe, and they're known as the Eagle Brigade, and their lineage has filtered down through history today, and there is still a unit, a division in the United States Army called the Screaming Eagles, the what? 101st Airborne. So their heritage goes back to the Eagle Brigade also here at Vicksburg. So, all right, any questions? Any other? Where's our other guide? Here we are. You got anything you wanna add? Okay. All right, let's go to the vehicles, get a drink of water, go up in the woods if you need to use the restroom, water. I guess that's permissible in it.
You're in the 13th U.S.
Goodbye, Joe. We gotta go on the bow. You know, son of a gun will have big fun on the bow. Not by you. Not Linda Ronstadt. Blue Bayou. It's bow. So we're going in Mint Spring Bow. If you want to go the other way, just take this road down to there, and
Chicken, right before you got the ride, you could fail. My kids never wanted to do that.
I changed my mind. You signed up to die. I didn't sign up to die. You signed up to die. Make that charge.
He disappeared.
They are approaching.
Yeah.
Really?
See what those guys want.
Don't look like if you do want to pick them. It's hard to tell.
Got that camera to break the ball in case you need it there, Jason?
Yeah.
The phone takes up to 6 seconds, and I have it down on the right pocket.
Yeah, but we need to get some other people to say yes. And maybe we will in 2 years. This 2-year position.
I think so, yeah. Okay.
Don't do that.
There's a monument.
Yeah, really.
If I fall, Joe, I'm going to throw the camera from here.
Reclaim.
All I have to do is say, hey, you remember yesterday? At least we have trees. Did the team use a 180 and oh, there you go.
Oh. Oh.
That was an ominous crack.
Yeah. It's not good. I don't want that to fall on anyone.
Knocking trees over in
This is where my lack of flexibility does not help.
That's where I am. So he's holding up that tree.
Are you going down?
Yeah, I'm just, this thing's a little bit shaky. So
Yeah, I got it.
out of the way. So it's
Oh, shit.
Well, the difference is I know where to go up and down Hill Ranch. Here, I don't know. I just wonder if she's got the right idea. Yeah.
Well, my
Well, first thing is I don't want to fall and hurt myself, and then second, no.
That whole time, you got hung up with it. The first
I think it's actually dry. There may be a little trickle in it. You can walk over and see it, but we're going to go the easier route this direction.
Persimmon full. Tree, I don't see one. So when did you actually pivot to that? Prior ones were like that. Okay. So, same as your wife, she has 34 years as a mine had 28. There was a 5-year break in the middle, so it would have been that long. Just the way things were happening. You're going to have a hard time. Danger.
Uh-oh, you all right?
Yeah.
Get halfway, we'll meet you there.
They'll pull and I'll push.
Here we go.
Ravines have old roads down in them.
Yeah.
Was this an old roadway or?
Yeah, you can especially see them over behind the visitor center. There's some old CCC bridges there.
Yeah.
And up here, I don't think we'll go over there, but at the Stockade Redan, near where Thomas Kilby Smith's, where he would be coming in right there. There's actually, there was a CCC camp right there down below, and you can still see some of the remains of the buildings and such down
I've been out there and seen those.
You know
there
what I'm
were
talking
3
about.
or 4 CCC camps here?
There were 4, yes sir.
Yeah. Perry, is that you back there? Yeah, we're good. Everybody still alive? Okay, I think we see light at the end of the tunnel, but it may have been cut out due to budget restrictions.
In May, April, even going into June, I did not expect to get playing the ball. We were playing the second half.
We'll hold this on April the 6th. I'm kidding. We're not Shiloh.
Okay, I'm not mishearing him.
My sunken road is more sunken than your sunken road. My teeth weren't better.
Not too many.
Oh, every Saturday.
Good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Iowa towel.
Nope, it's the one that they did not have. It's one they had technical issues, and they didn't zoom it. Seriously?
Oh, yeah, you talked about the
If you have posing sort of picture of some officers that were captured at Shiloh, that was one I gave.
Oh, okay.
That was tepid at best. Okay, yes, Hannah, good.
Big credit.
That was basically repositioning. Here's the real stuff. And again, that was the easy part. Here comes the hard part. We're going to go up there as assault. Let me kind of detail this a little. You got my maps there? Let me borrow your maps here.
Yours.
Okay. If you look, whoever's got the maps, and that probably didn't go over good, but I'll show you here. The Sherman's assault, afternoon of May the 22nd. We detailed a little bit. We hiked, of course, the May 19th Ewing's approach, or Giles Smith's attack. Yeah, Sherman's assault, May 22nd, afternoon, May 22nd. The action back at the Stockade Redan you see here, that's the pinprick that I was talking about, Mauer, all of that, Forlorn Hope, all that throughout the day. Giles Smith will also attack, as will Thomas Ransom, part of MacArthur's division of the 17th Corps. That's where the 15th and 17th Corps connect. Detached off to the west along the front of the Confederate works, and actually the map would be better like this. Let's do it like this. This is, I'm looking north, and north is this direction. We have Thayer's brigade making the assault here, supported by some of Wood's brigade and Manter's brigade. This is Frederick Steele's division. Steele is the division commander in the 15th Corps. Sherman has 3 divisions, Steele, Blair, and Tuttle, James Tuttle, who you know from Shiloh, held the Hornet's Nest. He's a brigade commander there. Blair and Steele were not involved at Shiloh. Steele was, I believe, over in Arkansas at this point, Pea Ridge, all of that, or at Shiloh. Blair, I believe, is in Congress, actually, at that point. So things have developed, but there will be an attack here. Frederick Steele's division, and actually what they'll do is utilize the folds in the land, all that kind of stuff, to reposition most of the entire division, kind of, again, these pinpricks. You see how narrow of a needle kind of this is to make the attack here on a kind of isolated front. And so Thayer will lead the way, and the regiments here, 30th Iowa, 9th Iowa, 26th Iowa. Anybody from Iowa? Okay, you see the bronze tablet that we saw. That was one of the Iowa ones, and you'll see more as we go up. There's some Missouri troops that will follow along, and you'll see the pink granite Missouri tablets at the top up there. That's 12th Missouri, supported by the 25th Iowa. I can't read. 3rd Missouri, 17th Missouri, 31st Iowa, anyway, this is one of those afternoon May 22nd attacks. And it's supposed to occur at 10 a.m. along with the rest of them, but the terrain, as you have witnessed, is so difficult back in here. They're off schedule, and it's only later in the afternoon that the attack actually takes place. So we're going to follow up the incline here to the tour route. You've been along there. You'll know where we are once we get up there. Now on either side, again, you will see tablets and monuments, all of that kind of stuff. Speaking of our layers like we talked about, there is also an approach here during the siege itself. It's called Thayer's Approach. And you will start to see when we cross the creek right here, you'll see an immediate sign there that'll talk about Thayer's Approach. And then it kind of goes to the side and up that really steep ridge there. And then there's a trail. If we could get up that, you ever been up there? That's pretty difficult. It's much easier up the gut. We're going up the gut. Yep. But it's pretty steep over there. But apparently unless there's been a whole lot of manipulation, and there has been here, erosion and all that. Do you know the exact route of the approach? You ever looked into that or anything?
Spur ridge over here.
There's
a spur on each side.
Yeah, but there are the monuments over here marking the emplacements of the soldiers that are going on the assault.
Exactly, yeah. So think approaches after the assault, but what we're focusing on here is the May 22nd assault by these Iowans and Missourians as they encounter the Confederate line. Now, the Confederate line up there, we'll mention who's defending. This is Baldwin's Brigade of M.L. Smith's division. You've got 31st Louisiana, 46 Mississippi. I had an ancestor in 46 Mississippi too. He was actually killed on July the 1st here. He almost made it. Let's see, you got 46?
I had 46.
Really?
Franklin Plummer Gates.
Cool. Did he live through it? He lived through it. Mine didn't. 31st Louisiana, 26th Louisiana. It's not far over there to the 27th Louisiana Redan, which you'll see as we walk back because we have no other choice at this point. But you'll kind of see the lay of the land and kind of where we were compared to where the Confederate line is. We came along the no man's land. All right, any questions? Everybody got a breather?
Let me just point out a couple things here. So we got the road right here. If we were to go down probably a couple of 100 yards, that's where the road blew out in January 2020. We had some torrential rainstorms and the road blew out. So that's why this has been closed since 2020. And they've worked on it. We're not permitted to go down the road, but I understand it's almost complete. They've done a tremendous job there. And but if you look over here, we can see the tunnel. While they were digging their approaches, they were getting, pot shots from the Confederate sharpshooters. Instead of coming over the ridge, they went through the ridge. And then what they did was they dug their sap right here, where you can see where the really green grass is, and you see it better when you get up on top. And then apparently what they did, and you correct me, Tim, but they put a cover over the top of it. That was a covered way to get them to the trenches right here.
The fascines I was talking about back there.
They put them right on top.
So you couldn't see it through the ridge there.
And so where we're going to hike wasn't there in 1863. It's my understanding that this was just a great big hill here. But in the 1930s, the late 1930s, when the CCC is here, for whatever reason, and I don't know why, they dug out the middle of the hill. And there's a great big concrete drain going through there, and that's what we're going to try to follow going up.
Sure, it had a lot to do with erosion.
That's what.
All of that.
Probably a lot to do with blowing out the road over here too. Channeling all that water.
Please be careful going up this. We don't have any schedule. We're gonna take our time. Do we have a question, Mona?
On your map, you've got 2 units of the 31st Louisiana online. Was there 2?
That may, I don't remember specifically. It may have been that section of the line was held by both or by the same regiment, and I just divided them, or the map maker divided them. Or it could be the map maker's a total idiot, which is probably the fact, and it is what it is. I'm the map maker, so I do my own map. So I don't remember. That's been several books ago. I don't remember specifically. All right, we got 5 questions. All right, be very, very careful here because you can fall through. It may be better to either go here or here. Don't follow me.
Probably every bit of a 100-foot climb through.
What, 11, 12, 13 more?
Oh, thank you. Yep.
There's a whole body.
See, this is all that's left.
This is a picture here.
Yes, it is.
It's all right, I think I got you.
If you saw these places, you wanted to look in the book to see about it, read about it.
Big hole. Thank you.
You can lay it out. Garden.
Some people do it in recognition.
You said this was the Jefferson County, Missouri group, or one of them?
St. Louis.
Okay.
Missouri's kind of interesting because you've got some bills in it.
Okay, sure.
There's a lot of conflict between the old bills down in the St. Louis. Really? Yeah. Yeah, they're seriously. There was some detention down there.
You're talking about here?
I mean, you have to like the life of the regiment.
Yep.
It's one of the punishments for being.
Yeah, you know those people from Illinois.
Well, actually, don't feel Germans wanted to be in the German military, so they came to St. Louis. And
Oh.
So Belmo's on just on the east side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's usually German.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to go to my left because of the view.
Hand up! Hand up!
You got a series of holes right here.
Finally, yeah, concrete.
Yep, I see that.
That's Mary Kate. Oh, yeah.
I think you're on it.
And we don't have anyone shooting at us.
There, you don't need to make your own.
Oh, really?
You get up there so fast.
Right over here.
He's younger than anything to do with it.
Oh, good.
Yep, you got it. I got you.
Right up here. Yeah, right up here.
Nice trail, we're following behind.
I think I already got my $30 for the fun. Who said that? Hi there, you beat me up here. Be strapped to the mast. What a scene that is. Yeah.
And they'll run up here.
Run up here.
Run up
I
here.
don't think they're running that
As
deep.
in a bird? Oh, mercy. Edward?
Of course, the grass wasn't like that.
My birds are nice, like just set.
That's like when we used to go to Camp Blanding for black powder training. The word went around, y'all called them and told them we're rangers, we're coming to Camp Blanding, they want to know if we wanted the obstacle course. No, not that kind of rangers. Not that rangers. These are that ponytailed rangers. Isn't this a view? Look at that.
Beautiful.
All right, now what's amazing, of course, is that the Confederate line is right here. The red tablets, where's it? Yeah, see the red tablets right here? That's the Confederate line. Assault. See the Iowa tablet right here? See these pink granite Missouri monuments? They get to here. Right. They get up that and get to here, which is absolutely amazing. Then the approach will actually make it to here. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it'll say July 1st or 2nd or so. End of Thayer's Approach, which comes, see the blue sign right down there? Thayer's Approach is a double. It has two. The one on the left didn't go all the way. The one on the right does. End of Thayer's Approach, Confederate works in front, carried to this point about July 3rd. And a gallery for a mine begun but not finished. Work in charge of Colonel Herman Klosterman. So the approach even reaches to this point. All right. Woo! We made it. I think it's lunchtime. What do y'all think?
I like this idea.
All right.
Double time back to the vehicle.
Double time back to the vehicle. It's an easy walk to the vehicles. We got a park road for that.
Double time means it takes twice.
Rick was the head of the National Park Service Black Powder Program. Isn't that right? He was the head guy. And so anyway, he had us out kind of like a group like this and talking to us and all that and giving the instructions and all that. And you said, okay, everybody copacetic? And Tally Kirkland in the back said, no, I'm Presbyterian. Or just Tally Kirkland, but anybody, everybody copacetic, everybody good? All right, follow the watch the
Surrender Interview Monument is right here. You can see the upright cannon underneath the tree there, and the Park Service and all of its wisdom in 1937 built a visitor center right over here. And it was smack dab in the middle of the battlefield. And of course, then the Park Service grew trees, so you never knew it was here. And nobody ever came to the visitor center here. So that's when they would have another one, which is near Stop 12, and then the one that we were just parked near in 1977. So when we restored the battlefield out here in 2012, it was a very contentious, I'm going to tell you, study, because the historian here, Terry Winchell, he wanted to clear every tree, and the superintendent, who thought this was the Yosemite of the Mississippi, she didn't want to clear any trees. So anyways, we were able to come to some mediation, and this area was restored here. And then that showed the building, and what once again, the superintendent and some other people on the staff wanted to camouflage the building so that you didn't see it, keep the trees around it. And I said, cut the trees off, and that way they'll see the warts, and maybe we'll eventually be able to get rid of this building. So this building was over 50 years old, so that makes it historic. It's another layer of history here, but it was an intrusion in the middle of the battlefield, and finally all the proper paperwork was done, 106 compliance and everything else that you needed to do. And once again, the Friends of Vicksburg funded to get that building removed. And as I said, they also have funded to get the Illinois Monument. You can see the scaffolding steadily going up there. So that'll be completely restored too. But just wanted to give you a little history of this area right here as far as the park is concerned.
All right, very good. Appreciate that. All right, so let's shift back into 1863 now. We have done our due diligence up at Stockade Redan, of course, Thayer's approach, Thayer's assault, all of that. We're shifting down now to the 17th Corps. This is James B. McPherson's Corps, and if you look back to your rear here, you can see the line of circumvallation that we were talking about. See all those monuments in the cannon. This is de Goyer's battery over there, the Michigan monument to the right over here. Some of the depressions that you see just right toward that tower over there, that's some of Logan's original earthworks. So like we talked about at Stockade Redan, where you can see some of Buckland's, some of the original parts of Buckland's approach, all of that, you can still see some of the original fortifications, but they look very different, obviously, than the manicured Stockade Redan or 3rd Louisiana Redan or something like that. So again, most of what you see is refabrications, but that is some of the original area over there. Now, what happens here on May the 22nd? Well, we're going to concentrate on the attack of John E. Smith's brigade along the Jackson Road. That's what we're going to talk about for the next 2 or 3 hours. I'm kidding, Bjorn. That's what Bjorn's going to talk about tomorrow. I was waiting to the point that Bjorn says, whoa, no, wait a minute, no. I wouldn't dare steal your thunder. That's kind of reminiscent of...
Tomorrow's program would be pretty boring.
I've told y'all this story before, but I'll tell it again. My favorite Mona story. So I've told an Ed Barr story. I've told a Rick Martin story. I'm going to tell a Mona story. The first year that we did this, what was the first year we did this, Perry?
2012.
2012. So this is year 14, I guess. Is that right? If I do my
I think
math.
it's our 15th.
Is this 15?
Yeah, it's 15.
15,
Wow.
yeah, I think so.
It was 2012. I don't know. Anyway, do the math. Anyway, the first year we did Patrick Claver, and Mona has a crush on Patrick Claver. Mona's and John Hunt Morgan. She's got a couple of crushes there. But anyway, she wanted to do Patrick Claver, and that's what we're going to do, Patrick Claver. So I get out there and we immediately start. And I say, we're going to follow Randall Gibson's brigade. And the look on Mona, she's wilted. I mean, just like, and I was kidding, of course. But anyway, that's kind of what we were doing. But well played, Bjorn. You didn't throw a fit there. But just suffice it to say that there are a couple of attacks through this area on May the 22nd, one of which will be John E. Smith's brigade, and another one of these pinprick attacks against the 3rd Louisiana Redan. Now, I'm not going to talk about that, but where it will take place is along the Jackson Road, in between here and the Shirley House there, between here and the Illinois Memorial, and then up to the 3rd Louisiana Redan, which you see right at the top of the hill up here. So that's tomorrow. Bjorn is going to be taking y'all all over that and dealing with that. Now, same day in these attacks at 10 a.m., there is another one taking place in Logan's division. All of these are Logan's division attacks. Now, if we back up a little bit, there's not a lot going on in McPherson's Corps on the 22nd. There are no major attacks on the 19th by McPherson's Corps. That's mainly Blair's division of the 15th Corps, Sherman's Corps. On the 22nd, one entire division doesn't even attack at 10 a.m. That's Quinby's division to our south, my left here. If I hit you in the head, I'm sorry, you hit me back. I don't want to hit you back there. But Quinby's division doesn't even advance. Quinby's sick. There's some issues there. Later in the afternoon, when they're called in to support supposedly breakthroughs on McClernand's front, we'll see that later this afternoon at the railroad redoubt. Quinby's division is shifted down to support McClernand, and they'll attack 2nd Texas Lunette and all that. But originally they don't attack. MacArthur's division, there's only one brigade of MacArthur's division of the 17th Corps, and that's Ransom's brigade up near Sherman's across Glass Bayou, and operating more with Sherman's Corps than they are the 17th Corps. So the only one that really makes any assault is Logan's division of the 17th Corps, and that's John E. Smith's brigade that'll attack the 3rd Louisiana Redan. The other attack is John D. Stevenson's brigade that will attack the Great Redoubt. Did I say Great Redoubt right then? That's 3rd Louisiana Redan. The Great Redoubt will set right over where this car is, you see the 2 red tablets up there? That's the Louisiana Memorial. These are Louisianans, of course, manning the Great Redoubt. Let me see if I can remember who is manning this. 21st Louisiana, 40th Mississippi, 29th Louisiana, 17th Louisiana in reserve. So these are Louisianans. Obviously, they put the Louisiana Monument there. Now, the Great Redoubt is interesting, as is the 3rd Louisiana Redan. There are some, and I would have to count, I don't remember off the top of my head, but 5 or 6 road entrances into the city of Vicksburg. Baldwin's Ferry Road, the Warrenton Road, River Road, Graveyard Road, all of that, plus the railroad, of course, and we'll see the railroad redoubt in just a little bit. But the main entrance into Vicksburg is the Jackson Road, and that's where, it's not what's labeled on your map today on Google Maps as the Jackson Road. The Jackson Road actually came across right where we're talking about, in front of the Shirley House, all of that. It is the only thoroughfare along the Vicksburg Confederate fortifications that actually has 2 major fortifications guarding it, and that's because it was that important. Most of them, the railroad redoubt guards the railroad, the 2nd Texas Lunette guards the Baldwin's Ferry Road, all of that kind of stuff. You have a major bastion where these roadways and railroads enter into Vicksburg, but because of the importance of the Jackson Road, you have 2 major fortifications, and so the Jackson Road will move basically right between the 3rd Louisiana Redan and the Great Redoubt. And we will see attacks, of course, going against both of those. Now, the way Stevenson does this, he has 4 regiments, the 8th Illinois, let me remember these, the 7th Missouri, 81st Illinois, and 32nd Ohio. So you got a mismatch here, a couple Illinois, Missouri, and 32nd Ohio, and I'm just looking at the map here. If you look at the map, this is laid out pretty good. This is the Confederate fortifications here, Stockade Redan all the way up at where we started today. So this is the middle portion of the fortifications there. Tony can get that there. So this is McPherson's division, McPherson's Corps, Logan's division, John E. Smith here against the 3rd Louisiana Redan. Stevenson's brigade will make this attack against the Great Redoubt. Now, what he does, instead of leaving from the line of circumvallation itself, and I started to park at Ransom over there, and we could go over these various hillocks, as Lew Wallace would call them, if we were at Shiloh. But that's not what Stevenson did. And we'll get our guides in here if they can give me any direction on this. What he talks about is that he uses the lay of the land to position his brigade, and we're going to see this even more at the railroad redoubt a little bit later on. But he uses the lay of the land in order to kind of fold his troops behind ridges closer, as close as he can get to the enemy fortifications, so that that'll keep them under fire at a less amount of time. So instead of starting way over at the other ridge over there and coming across under fire and then getting in that valley and then coming across this ridge and getting that valley, they will start closer. Now, you can't deploy down in this valley right here. That's not possible. You have to do one over. And so I'm guessing, and Morgan and Rick, y'all help me out with this, I'm guessing he used the lay of the land and the folds in the land to deploy basically in this valley right here. Have y'all ever looked into this? Do you know anything about it? Anything?
There's actually a line of markers on
Yeah, there is a line of markers down here. Does that denote his original positioning?
I'm thinking that they were coming out right down in
it's
there.
another one right here.
That's
Okay,
what I
all
was
right.
thinking.
There you go. The veterans put all this here, and so there is a little bit of interpretation. So we don't know. What we're going to do though is cover it all. We're going to walk out down this ridge here, and you'll see these. This is a parallel. This is an additional parallel that is in front of the line of circumvallation. And then we're going to go across this. And y'all, this is a steep hill. It's a pretty steep hill, but we'll take our time, and there are various markers. For instance, you can see just the very top of an Illinois one over there. I think that's 8th Illinois, if I remember correctly. How far they got. Some got all the way to the ditch of the Great Redoubt. In fact, there's some high-ranking officers killed here. Colonel Dollins, I believe, of the 81st Illinois, is killed right in front of this. and so they make it to the face, but just like we saw at the stockade Redan, they're not able to penetrate inside, and they take pretty heavy heavy casualties. Now, I just had a thought and it just poof went out. Oh, I know what it was. Any Irish here? We got any folks that are Irish? This is one of those great. You're Wisconsin. You're not Irish.
When you go tell my grandmother that, she spoke with a brogue.
Oh, really? Okay. The 21st Illinois here, or 21st Louisiana, is an Irish regiment. They carry one of those green flags, emerald green flags with a gold trim, all that kind of stuff. I believe it's the 7th Missouri. That's what it is. 7th Missouri under Captain Buchanan. The colonel, they're down to a captain commanding the regiment. The 7th Missouri is an Irish regiment. They carry the green emerald flag with the gold trim and all that. So they're Irishmen versus Irishmen here, and they make a big play on that. So, all right. With that said, that kind of lays out what we're looking at. We thought we'd save you a few steps and a little bit of time rather than starting over there. We'll just start down here. So I think what we'll do is walk down to this area and then start across and go up the hill. Any questions? Anything that before we?
Just one quick comment. The green flag that the 7th Missouri was carrying still exists.
Where's it?
It's in Jefferson City in the capital. In the state
okay.
museum.
Cool.
It's not out on display right now. I've seen it. I live there, so
right,
I've seen
yeah.
it a bunch of times.
Cool.
About half of it left, half of it is deteriorated, shot away. But because there's a mention in one of the Louisiana reports about a flag of the Irish nation or the Irish species or something like that being planted in the ditch in front of us, and that flag still exists.
Wow, that's
pretty
cool.
darn cool.
That is pretty cool.
Both of them exist. It looks just like the Irish Brigade flags from New York. It's the green shamrock, the sunburst, the harp. It's a cool flag.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Rick, Morgan, anything? Oh, we got a question to see.
Yeah, where was the position of the coonskin tower?
That was right across. Do you see the cut through the gap right here? Do you see the monument that's a little lower down than everything else? That's the gum oak tree mortars, Tracilius battery. Right above that, do you see the cut coming through the ridge? That's Hickenlooper's battery. That's a forward parallel. Coonskin's tower, as I understand it, was a little bit behind that, just to the right, not all the way to the Illinois Memorial. Is that where y'all interpret it? There's a marker there, 32nd Ohio or something there. One of the Ohio monuments, markers, I believe. But that's basically where it was. So it would have sat right up on the ridge, right up here.
What was that made of?
Well, we're going to talk about all that tomorrow.
Yeah, well, yeah. You going to talk about coonskin tomorrow?
You're taking away his.
Are you going to talk about coonskin tomorrow?
Yeah, if I can learn about it by tomorrow.
Cross ties. It was made of cross ties. The railroad stacked on each other.
I've noticed you tossing a lot of things to the licensed battlefield.
Use them. They're great. Y'all got anything to add before we head out? Okay, well, let's go. Oh.
Stevenson's relief is there.
Yeah, a picture of John D. Stevenson here. If you don't want to do this, the off-ramp that I'm talking about, just take a little leisurely stroll right up the roadway here. Take a left when you get up to the main park road and meet us up at where you see the two red tablets up there. That'll be a lot easier, but if you want to go with us, of course.
Get your badge.
Hey, Tim,
Go get your trophy.
my grandparents, their last name was Kelly. They came from Ireland. Is that Irish enough for you?
That sounds worth it.
I know some Kellys from Massachusetts.
The fun thing is you don't want to walk around, you can stand here and watch it here.
Yeah.
We're excited about that. Vacation for sure.
Yeah, there's ants. Okay.
All right, again, line of circumvallation, the next ridge over. This is
Man, that
a
is freaking
parallel
deep.
that's forward of that, and you can see it's lined up against the Union or the Confederate fortifications up there. All right, I had another thought, and it just went poof too. I had too many cookies at lunch, I think. Careful. Anyway, here we go. We're gonna go down and up Again, it's pretty steep, so if you need to go the other way, you certainly can. So let's go.
We'll stay behind Tony so we won't get in the down. Oh, now he's doing it. Yep. Oh, well, we can rest him now. I've driven back there. This part that would be blasted like this, and I don't know. What about you? Where you from?
Outside of Memphis.
Out in Sand Hill? Not quite Sand Hill, right on the edge of them. Pretty country out there. Yeah, it's really big country out there. About all there is out there is country.
Nebraska.
Platte River and then that's that way.
Yep. I grew up like 10 miles south of the Platte River.
Okay.
Fire ants right here.
Hole.
Stay over this, yeah, right here. Oh, right
Bunch right here too. Right there.
Oh, right here. I see it all over here too.
Another one. Right there.
Step over this hole right here, guys.
Oh, right here. Right here.
Illinois. Now, 17th Illinois doesn't per se make the assault. They are the skirmishers out front for this brigade, and then during the movement of Quinby's division, they will actually extend down farther, if I remember correctly, to form at least a semblance of a line in that gap. But this is 17th Illinois. You see it says assault May 23rd, killed 3, wounded 23, killed 26. That tells you they don't do just a whole lot of assaulting here. The main assault is 8th Illinois, 7th Missouri, 81st Illinois, and 32nd Ohio there. So if you look on this map, you see 17th Illinois skirmishers out front. That's one of the things that idiot at Mapmaker got right.
Tim, I have a question about that. What's the real purpose of skirmishers at a place like this? I mean, there's no doubt, no mystery where the enemy is. They're right there.
Yeah, just basically to form an initial line forward in order to blaze the trail, if you will, to watch for holes, whatever. But to make sure there are no counterattacks, all of that. What you see that with skirmishers a lot more though is kind of between the pinpricks. For instance, if Stevenson is making a pinprick attack here, not quite so much of a needle as we see with Smith's brigade or at Stockade Redan or whatever, but it's still on pretty narrow front. It's 2 regiment front stacked. There's obviously a little bit of space between here and Johnny Smith's brigade. There's some space between here and Quinby's division to the south, so they would cover that uncovered space more than anything. So it's not, you know, the traditional, what you traditionally think of as skirmishers to keep, you know, from being surprised or something like that. But they still did utilize the skirmishers here. It's interesting, even during the siege itself, over in Ransom's brigade, and I doubt seriously we'll get to do Ransom today. We'll do this and then Railroad Redoubt probably. But in Ransom's brigade, they have a Wisconsin regiment, and if Jim was over there, he'd cheer when I said Wisconsin, but he won the 16th Wisconsin, the 14th Wisconsin. And some of you folks, Jason and Judge, where are y'all, the Wisconsin folks, they were from up around the Green Bay area, I believe. Is that where you're
No, but
from?
just...
But you're thinking Packers, aren't you?
Yeah.
But one of the companies of the 14th Wisconsin was a company of Indians, Native Americans, to be politically correct now, indigenous people is what we would call them now. But they were Native Americans, and they figured out real quickly that they didn't do quite so well marching in line of battle or shoulder to shoulder or anything like that. They were too impatient for that. That's not our style of fighting, you know. But they figured out these guys are good at skirmishers, where they can sneak through the grass. They put grass in their hats, you know, to camouflage them and all that kind of stuff. And they would sneak up on the enemy and all that kind of stuff. Really cool things like that. Now they had been Christianized. In fact, if you look on the I forget what tribe they are. Y'all know any? Okay. If you look on the monument, the Wisconsin monument, they list all of the troops. You can't tell. They don't have Indian names. They have Christianized names, you know. So You have to know which company and all that, but it's really interesting. Interesting account.
A lot of the French
French
names.
missionaries had come through. So we got your packers in there.
But I also noticed how you can't see the base of that monument here.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about with the folds of the frame sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't even be a big hole, just a sort of a slight change in topography.
So
all right,
compared to now, how much higher was the wall of the redoubt? Could they be over the top firing in now?
Potentially, and again, some of this probably has eroded, and so what it exactly looked like, we know it hasn't changed a lot since the early 1900s, since these monuments were put in. But how much it changed before that, I don't know. Y'all may know.
I've read some accounts that it was like 15 feet higher.
And I was reading an account the other day of this, and I think it was in your book. One of the officers said he said it had to be at least 18 feet high, so somewhere between 15 and 18 foot high. So these are much taller than what you see right now.
We're going to see the Great Redoubt, what's left of it. There's a little part of it left, and you'll be able to look on the other side. A lot of times what they'll say and how high it is, though, you have a ditch in front, and so the net from the bottom of the ditch to the top of the parapet may not be, if it's 18 feet or whatever, it may not be 18 feet from ground level, but you still got to go through that ditch. So it was considerably higher. You could potentially get in some of these folds, though, and not be seen. All right, so let's make our final ascent. This is the big one.
We all get fun. Hopefully.
How high it was. I mean, is it Shannon's report that says their scaling ladders weren't long enough?
Their scaling ladders were too short for it, yeah. And imagine getting to the front and saying,
damn, I should have had a tall ladder.
Ladder's too short.
You gotta be kidding me.
This thing all the way up here for what?
Yeah, exactly. All right, you can read it, but I'll read it to the whole group. 81st Illinois, assault May 22nd, killed, wounded 80, total 98. It's a little different than what we saw with skirmishers of the 17th Illinois. Lieutenant Zebedee Hammock, William Farmer, and Hugh Warnock killed. Captain Cornelius S. Ward and Lieutenant Abraham Lippincott mortally wounded. I think it's important to mention specific names, and there were a lot besides officers. They got their names mentioned because they were officers, but the individuals, and this is a good time. One of those things that I thought about over there that slipped my mind, I've heard several conversations just overhearing them about being in the military, or I know Rick wouldn't dare make hay of this or anything, but you were in Iraq. You were in Afghanistan, saw combat, all of that service. And there's several other veterans. I know we got Air Force here, and Jason, where are you? Just take a moment. If you're a veteran, who's a veteran? Raise your hand. We got several veterans here. Thank you for your service. We appreciate that. I would kind of like to just recognize our veterans because of all people who appreciate stuff like this can appreciate, obviously, our veterans that are here. Okay, to the top.
Something interesting else about this that occurs to me. You got 5 officers mentioned here, killed, of 18. That's a high percentage.
Well,
am I reading it right?
Hammock, Farmer, and Warnock are killed. Ward and Lippincott are, well, mortally wounded. But,
so I mean, that's pushing.
Yeah, that's
not
a
quite
high.
30%.
Yeah, it's a high amount.
I mean, of enlisted men to officers, that's a big percentage.
Would the mortally wounded they wouldn't be included in the killed, probably, would they? They would be part of the wounded.
So they're
but
wounded.
Still, your point well taken.
Yeah,
that's a pretty
they're
big
at the front.
pretty big chunk.
Colonel Dollins here.
Yeah, that's odd. Colonel Dollins is killed, and there are several other high-ranking officers killed in and amongst these assaults. The only general officer in terms of a brigade commander or more being actually killed on the 22nd or 19th for that matter is Colonel George Boomer, who will lead one of Quinby's divisions, who reinforces McClernand's line and attacks the 2nd Texas Lunette. We won't see that specifically. We drove pretty close to it back to the Visitor Center earlier today, but you can go to the spot or actually spots. What tickles me, there are 2 signs, 2 of these monument marker kind of things. One on the south side of Clay Street that says Colonel Boomer was killed on this spot. And then another sign up by the cemetery says Colonel Boomer was killed on this spot. And so there are 2 spots. My guess is both of those were fairly close together at one point, but because of the Clay Street stuff, they had to, a lot of these things moved. Now I'm sure this one hasn't moved since it was put in, but when they redo roads and all that, we see that at Shiloh. There's some tablets that have moved at Shiloh as well. So I'm sure those were pretty much side by side at one point, but it's kind of funny that they're separated now. So anyway, all right, any other questions? A good question. All right, let's advance.
Yeah, I've come to this one. Further down there, you can see it. I've thought about it in a cooler like this to come down, but I usually come in the center. What I'd like to do is start on Union Avenue and come right through these woods. Yeah. Short-footed.
Or you're a stockade fan or something like that. So I'm guessing some of this is original.
Now the Goyer, I've seen pictures from 1903 on the Goyer, and that, I think that's pretty solid what it is right there. I think, yeah. And he never said anything about the Goyer either.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I don't know.
Could be. All right, of course, you look behind and there's not a lot of room here. It's a pretty narrow little ridge. Of course, there's been some erosion, I'm guessing, especially at the head of these ravines that go that direction. But there's just not a lot of room to place fortification here, and you do it right on the crest. And
This is the highest point in the park.
This is the highest point in the county.
Wow.
Right here.
Wow.
So you're looking what it commands. There's 800 yards away, straight line of sight to where you can see that camper or whatever. That's Battery de Goyer right there. So it's 800 yards away.
So you can see the difference in the line of circumvallation, the Confederate fortifications, and how important it is to dig your way closer if you have to assault. The ironic thing, there is never an approach toward the Great Redoubt. And I've seen some arguments that it was that strong that you're not going to do it. But I could see the feasibility of some zigzag stuff getting in here, you know, fairly closer. Of course, the closest approach is Logan's approach up along the Jackson Road, and then you don't get another approach south of here until A.J. Smith's approach at the Second Texas Lunette. All right, any questions here?
What are they building out from the Illinois monument? They have a
Rick, that's your question.
What's that?
tunnel?
Scaffolding?
The scaffolding
Where
there.
they're building out from.
Yeah, that is the scaffolding for the restoration of the Illinois monument.
Are they going to have build something that goes up to the steps there?
It's over the steps.
That's over the
Yeah,
steps.
that scaffolding is over the steps right
so the
there.
steps are going to be covered?
Well, I don't know what they're going to do.
It's
I mean, I can
scaffolding
see
now.
the steps right here. The scaffolding is over the top of it. So that scaffolding that looks like a porch is over the steps.
I'm assuming they had to make a level platform to
Yeah.
build additional scaffolding up.
Yeah.
Is what that
And this is
well.
hardcore scaffolding. It's meant to last for a year because they're going to be working on it for a year.
Oh. There's a lot of bat houses back here.
Yeah, we put bat houses back there to take the bats out of the monument. And while they were up, they worked good, and the park never kept them up. So bats are back in the bat house again.
Well, bats are people too.
That's right.
All right.
Is that mold on the dome?
That's from the debris from the trees, and that's what they're going to try to get off. That's you know, algae and things like that. That when you come back here in a year, that should be glistening white, just the way it was when it was put in here.
Marble?
Yep, that's all marble. That's the only marble monument in the park. I'm sure the Friends are going to have something. Yeah, it'll be a big
The
deal.
state of Illinois. Is Illinois paying for any of this?
No, this
No,
is
it was now.
Friends
yeah.
and the federal government.
I bet Illinois will get involved somehow.
Eventually.
Or at least maybe the Chicago Roundtable.
So one of the plans that we had for here, of course, they'll never be followed, but Terry Winchell, who was a historian here for 30 years, we had talked about, you know, the Jackson Road goes right through where you see all the bamboo. Now that's invasive species there. That's not wild cane. Somebody back here along MLK Road didn't want their houses to be seen, and it's my understanding they planted this bamboo, and it came all the way out to here, and we're just managing it. That's all we're doing. But anyway, make a long story short, what we wanted to do is have the tour road go behind the monument here, have a stop here so people would get out and look at the view from here, because nobody sees what you're seeing right now.
Get the wow factor.
Nobody sees this because they're down in their cars in the road, or they're in a bus, and you know, I point out, but you really, this is quite a view right here, and just imagine what happened here. But that'll never happen in my lifetime.
At the least, though, fortunately, we got this cleared. Y'all can see what it sort of looked like.
Yep.
This over here is not what it looked like with the trees. Yep. You can't see anything over there. Over here is what it mostly looked like with felled trees and abattis and all that. But you could see from one fortification line to the other.
But this right here wasn't cleared, like, what, for the past 20 years? Was it like 20 years back?
This was
first started guiding back in 2007. You couldn't see that camper from here.
That's all forest.
Because I remember when I was a kid, I came out here and I was like, oh, it's maybe just woods.
Yeah, this is 2012 that was restored. This has been cleared here. This has always been cleared.
How did the farmers use this property back at that time?
They had cows grazing in certain places.
Stay away.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And they would farm the ridge tops rather than the bottoms.
Yep.
All right, let's head back to our vehicles. We're not in any hurry. Take your time, don't fall.
No, just like what you see right there was built on that.
Yeah. Our Pemberton and Grant met here on July the 3rd in order to negotiate the surrender. And so this marks that spot.
So when you go in the visitor center, you'll see the original monument that was there. It's a marble monument. Yeah. You can look at it. There's an inscription on it taken from the site of the interview between Major General U.S. Grant, U.S. Army, and Lieutenant General Pemberton, and it says July 4th, 1863. It had a ball on top and a great big case. It was sitting right here, and when the veterans came back, they started chipping away at it for memorabilia, and it got moved around several places and then removed from the battlefield, and this would be placed here. And then during the medal drive in World War II, this cannon disappears. And in the 1990s, there's a visitor at Fort Moultrie or Fort Sumter. They happen to see what looks like something on the gun. They bring it to the attention of a park ranger. They clean it, and here's the gun that disappeared, and it would make it back here after we made a trade with them.
I certainly don't want to charge down that ridge on the other side under fire and then have to charge up the ridge. So he actually positions his brigade, these Iowa regiments, down in the valley, in the basic creek valley bottom there, during the night in order to be there at 10 a.m. They just keep their heads down, and when the signal comes to make the assault, they're halfway there already. And then they sprout up, and the Confederates here talk about it. It's like they sprouted up, grew out of the ground. And so we're going to do that. We're going to go down the road, take a left, and go out into the bottom there, basically where they were during the night, and then advance up toward the railroad redoubt. And then we'll go do ransom if we have plenty of time. We got to be out at 4:40 though, right? 5 o'clock. 4:30. 4:30. Okay. We do that. Okay. Well, so let's head on down. I'll show you a couple things on the way. We are concentrating on the May 22nd assault, which we're going to go down into the valley here, down this little concrete thing, and then up the incline here. During the siege itself, there are a couple of approaches that take place here, again digging toward the Confederate fortifications that you see up front. This is on General Carr's division line, so these are known as Carr's approach, and they're actually two different approaches in Carr's approach. One will be along the railroad itself, which is just barely in the woods right there. I don't know if any of you, when we crossed the bridge, if you saw the sign that said Carr's Approach, that's where it started. And for a little while, it actually went down the railroad itself. And then there's some signs over in here and then up toward the railroad redoubt up there. The other wing of it would start right up on top of the hill, and you can't see, well, yeah, you can. Do you see over just right near the woods over here? Do you see that blue tablet? It'll come off that knob right there over to the side, and you can see a little bit when the grass is not so high, kind of a little bit of the indentation of the approach, but it'll cross here, and you see these blue tablets up here, and then the one silhouetted against the the sky up there. Then it'll cross over, and you see the tablet here. And if you saw that as we went by, it would say Cars Approach. I believe the left-hand side of Cars Approach. So there are two different approaches moving toward the railroad redoubt, again with the intention of digging under. They never blow this. The only one that has actually ever blown, I'm not going to tell you. You have to come back tomorrow to find that out. I'm not going to steal Bjorn's thunder, but it has something to do with Bjorn's program tomorrow. So come back for that. All right, so those are the approaches during the siege itself. Again, we're dealing with the May 22nd assault, and this will be Lawler's brigade. Let me show you the map here. McClernand's assault. Okay, here is, well, that's McPherson. We did McPherson. Here is McClernand's assault. 2nd Texas Lunette. Actually, the map would do better like this. So 2nd Texas Lunette is back across the railroad. Let me get right here.
Where we saw the Jewish cemetery.
Yeah, where the cemetery is. We crossed the railroad about right here, and the Y up there where you split is just right up in here. Actually, probably right over in here. So the attack that's going to take place down in this little valley, you see the creek right here. This is Lawler's brigade, and this is the same brigade that made the assault at Big Black River Bridge on the 17th, and then they will make the assault here. I believe I hear a train. 21st Iowa, 22nd Iowa, the 23rd Iowa is a part of this brigade, but they've been sent back with prisoners, garden prisoners, Confederate prisoners there. And then you've got the 97th Illinois, 11th Wisconsin, supporting brigade, Landrum's brigade, 48th Ohio, 19th Kentucky, 130th Illinois, 77th Illinois. All of those will concentrate on the railroad redoubt and make this assault. Now, they are, just watch the show here for a second. Not much of a show, is it? Anyway, can't see anything. That's what the railroad redoubt is here for, though. That's fitting that he came by. If we were at Corinth or Shiloh, I would say, oh, ordered that train to come by. Put in an application for it to come by specifically for us. But that illustrates why the railroad redoubt obviously is here. So again, Lawler will bring his troops down into this valley. Now, obviously, there has been a causeway built up. This is built up right here. Rick, you know anything about this? Manicuring the park type stuff.
1917, we have the reunion that happens here, the Peace Jubilee, which is over here. There was a train station right here. So what they wound up doing is, you can see the remains of a road over here where you see they went right up to the train. They made a special train station for that, and it came right out here. I mean, yeah, they did do some work here in this area.
The reunion was farther up on the Union lines a little bit. When we make this loop, we'll have to make the loop out. Yeah. It was right up in here. I'm guessing this looks a little too manicured. I'm guessing they cut through up here. Sir. So what we came down on the road is not particularly accurate. They cut through just a little bit. But we're going to go right over here and go up this direction, which will give you a much more accurate viewpoint of what took place there. Okay, everybody good?
So that morning they went and hit the corner with the artillery.
Yeah.
That morning.
Yeah, McClernand's artillery back on this line will be pummeling the railroad redoubt. And as we make our attack, we'll talk about the breakthrough that supposedly occurs there. So, all right, let's go.
That's close artillery.
Yeah.
We did something here in July.
riding up here. All right, let's see Perry Pass. So let's start the railroad now. Watch this big old land hill right here.
Good idea.
Yeah. So close to these wraps off over here.
We'll get cut up quite as bad though, Tom.
That's true.
An issue.
There's Morgan. Morgan.
I get itchy no matter what.
Yeah. Reach on, brother.
This is like in the middle of Dill Branch at Shiloh last year. And I was reading the reports. And I said, well, I need a break. Harold piped up and said, read us a story, Uncle Tim. So I read to you a little while. All right. It's not everywhere that you see red tablets and blue tablets intermingled within the fortification. In fact, there's only one spot, and that is here at the Railroad Redoubt, where the only thing even approaching a breakthrough occurs on May the 22nd. And you can see here Lawler's Brigade tablet and Landrum's Brigade tablet as they move forward. You can see how that would cover you where we just were until they spring up out of the ground. Of course, it's going to be less over here and less over here, more here. So the nuances of the ground are going to make a difference. But they're a good halfway, if not more, than the line of circumvallation that you can see on the other side over there. So is there a breakthrough? That's debatable. Federals do enter the very tip of the railroad, redoubt. The railroad redoubt is kind of a finger sticking down out of the main Confederate line, which is back on this ridge over here. You can see some of those monuments and tablets over there. So the railroad redoubt kind of sticks out a little bit like a finger, and they do enter the very tip of it, but it's only like 10 or 15 Federals, and only one of those is still alive by the time they actually take possession. So there's one wounded sergeant basically manning the tip of the fortification. Well, the Confederates, of course, have fallen back. They're still in portions of it. There are traverses in the tip of the finger that you can get behind. So they're both kind of inside the tip of it, which you know, and they're just kind of looking out at each other and all of that kind of stuff. It's not a huge battle whatsoever. But technically, there are Federals within the Confederate fortifications. That, of course, is, I hate to say less important, but the actual penetration here is less important than what McClernand makes of it. And you can look across, that's the Iowa monument over there, but you can see McClernand's monument. No, that's Ord.
No, it's McClernand on the horse.
On the horse? He's on the horse. McClernand's on the horse.
There's a horse over there? Yeah. See, my eyes, I don't
Get your eyes fixed.
The one with the white pedestal is that the horse? Okay. I can't see, I don't see a horse for nothing. I see the Iowa monument.
Neither do I, but I know it's there.
That's McClernand. Just to his left will be EOC Ord. But McClernand will advertise this as a great breakthrough and will send word to Grant that I have taken, actually at one point he says I've entered 2 fortifications, 2nd Texas Lunette, which never happened. Well, one guy bounds over the parapet and gets captured, but that's, can't really.
That's penetration.
Well, I guess it is. There you go. But the flags are flying over the Confederate fortifications, and so that's what he makes out. That's what causes Grant. He says, "Give me some support, send me reinforcements, and restart the advances, the attacks on other portions of the line, so that they won't concentrate on me, to take some pressure off of me." Almost a second front that the Russians are hollering about in World War II kind of thing. That's what restarts at the Stockade Redan, Sherman's assaults. That's when Maurer's brigade goes in, the Eagle Regiment, all of that. That's some of that stuff in the center there with McPherson. Actually, Giles Smith and Ransom will attack later that afternoon as well. It's also when Quinby's division is sent south to aid McClernand. That's the reinforcements, because Quinby is apparently not doing anything anyway, so they send Quinby down here. But what McClernand does, he uses the 3 brigades of Quinby's division everywhere except where? Here, where supposedly the breakthrough occurred. 2 of them go in at the 2nd Texas Lunette. That's when Colonel Boomer is killed, and they don't make any headway over there. The 3rd one goes in support of Osterhaus's division, which is farther south from here. So none of the reinforcements go to here. And so for the rest of the afternoon, basically, you've got just kind of a standstill here. A lot of Federals in the ditch, 1 or 2 or a few wounded in the fortification itself, until late in the day when there is a counterattack by Wall's Texas Legion that will come from the main Confederate line. That's why the Texas Monument is here, and they will retake the railroad redoubt and drive the Federals back, and that's the end of the operations here. But this is a good place that you can see the ground and see how Waller uses that in order to shield his men from midnight on till 10 a.m. when they're to jump off, and then when they're told to go, they're that much closer. And whether that contributes to the ability to get in this thing or not, probably not. I don't think so. I think it's the layout of this that it's not really covered by, the rest of the Confederate lines. There's debate about that. But that's what happens at the railroad redoubt. Now, at the same time, there are other actions here that we won't necessarily stop and talk about, but as we drive around the loop, you will see this is a great area that's been cleared as well. And what you'll kind of see are fingers that stick out from the Confederate line. And the Federals will use the hollows in between these fingers to advance. And you'll see some tablets and monuments down in there, leading up, of course, to the Confederate line. That's Osterhaus's division. And then on farther down, you get into Hovey's division and the Square Fort, or Fort Garrett, named after Isham Garrett, who was killed during the campaign. As Ed Barr says, you never want a fort named after you, because it means you're dead, basically. So that's Fort Garrett. If you look closely, you will see the zigzag trenches of Hovey's approach. There are several approaches here, in addition to Carr's approaches here. Slack's approach, one of the really cool one to follow is Slack's approach in between here and the Square Fort. And then Hovey's approach, you can see the remnants of the zigzag, literal zigzag trenches approaching the Square Fort there. Then the park ends, and the lines, of course, continue all the way down to the Mississippi River, and Louisiana Circle and South Fort, all that kind of stuff, but that's no longer in the park. At one point it was, but no longer is it in the park. It was traded away in the 1960s, 63. You can still follow a lot of the old tour route road. It looks just like some of these roads, not this blacktop, but the concrete ones. You go down to Mission 66 toward Vicksburg, the road Mission 66, take the left, go south, and you can follow along. And you'll see monuments and tablets and markers and all of that kind of stuff down along that. You can do that on your own if you would like to. Okay, any questions on the attack at the railroad redoubt?
I got one thing, not a question. What impresses me is that Lawler got his whole brigade down here in the middle of the night, and the noise and light discipline that they must have had. Because you think of all the equipment they're wearing, their jingle jangle and stuff like that. Yeah. And where are the pickets out here? How come there's no alert or anything like that? I just wonder about that. But to me, that's amazing.
Here or vedettes or pickets out
there would have been pickets out here at night. Yeah. I don't know how far out they would have been, but there would have been someone out here.
you know, seeing what was going on.
You would think to the military crest.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've not seen any force.
Yeah, I don't know anything. I haven't seen anything in writing.
So troops were on the other side.
Down in the
Right down in where we came
I'm
out.
talking about over that
U.S. troops, yeah.
on the other side.
Yeah, where
And
the
they
line
moved
on
forward to
Lawler
here.
moved in here,
Yeah.
in that ravine during the middle of the night.
They needed some here. They needed some here.
Yeah, exactly. Morgan, anything to add here? All right. Okay. I think since we did this, I think we got time to go to ransom if y'all want to. Now this will be straight. Tony. He saw the 17th Wisconsin from Wisconsin.
Yep.
And he says he's got an anecdote about him at Chickasaw Bayou, or
No, over at Lake Providence in the
Lake Providence in the Vicksburg campaign. He's gonna tell us the story real quick.
We're talking about Irish-related regiments. The 17th was what we'd consider Wisconsin's Irish regiment, and there's an interesting anecdote. Our ancestors, mine and my sister's ancestors, was the 18th Wisconsin under Colonel Bulk, whose monument is around the corner down there a ways. During the Bayou portion of the campaign, Bayou, sorry, correction, Bayou, god darn Yankees. The Bayou portion of the campaign, the 18th was up on, I'm going to say Lake Providence, up there. There, all the things that were going on up there. There's empty, I'll call them rebel properties for lack of a better term, that still had contraband or the slaves that are still living there. One night, the 18th soldiers heard a bunch of ruckus and bustle over there. This came from a letter from an 18th officer, and the 18th soldiers were like, "What the hell?" Some of the Louisianian citizens came back to get their property, i.e., their slaves. So they were going over in boats to capture some of these rebel property owners that were taking the slaves. It ended up being in the dark. They ended up fighting with a bunch of drunken 17th Wisconsin soldiers. They were going over there to do activities of no repute or with ill repute. No good. Well, the 18 soldiers actually got a whole bunch of them succumbed, that's the right term, brought them back to what they thought face appropriate justice, and I've never found a record of anything that happened whatsoever. The only reference to that is a letter from Newton Lane, company commander of Company C of the 18th, was writing home to his family about it, and they were unhappy. It sounded like, I was getting the impression they were very unhappy that everything seemed to kind of disappear. You know, that they're hoping, they were hoping these guys were going to face justice for doing acts of ill repute of, well, basically sexually assaulting a bunch of black women over there. So.
Lies, made up by the drunk to discredit the sober, obviously.
But again, my only reference to that is one letter written home where I found that reference. So.
What went on? You never know. Say Minnesota.
Minnesota.
You don't talk right.
I'm sorry.
You don't redneck things up like we do there. I like the way they say Minnesota. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. That was great. Interesting. These Irish, you never can trust the Irish, right? That never let them loose. All right. Real quick. Where are we?
We're right next to the most impressive monument on the battlefield.
Would be Wisconsin. All right, I'm all mercy. I've turned this thing around. Okay, that's basically how it is. Basically like this. Okay, Stockade Redan is here. That's to our left. We just crossed Glass Bayou here, which you can see to the right. And so in this in-between part right here, will be Confederate fortifications manned by Hebert's brigade, Lewis Hebert, Francis Cockrell, and they will be attacked by, on the 22nd, Blair's division has moved down a little bit down the line here, and so we've got Giles Smith making an attack right about this area. We'll come out essentially at Green's Redan. Ewing's brigade will be a little farther to the north there. Kilby Smith in reserve. Now, Ransom's brigade will also make an attack through here in conjunction with Giles Smith. So we're following Giles Smith a couple of different areas here. And Ransom is kind of a parentless brigade. That's the only brigade of MacArthur's division that is on site. MacArthur's division being a part of the 17th Corps, but they're operating as the only unit of the 17th Corps north of Glass Bayou. So they're operating more with the 15th Corps than they are the 17th Corps, which is Logan and Quinby farther to the south there. So we get basically the territory of Ransom's Brigade, Giles Smith's Brigade. If you're interested in regiments here specifically, 95th Illinois, 72nd Illinois, 14th Wisconsin, 11th Illinois, 17th Wisconsin. That's why we got a Wisconsin monument here. Giles Smith, of course, we've already covered those with Illinois, Missouri, and all of that. So they make an attack here. They are unsuccessful, just like everybody else, but they do make it to the Confederate fortifications, and then they will be pulled back later that night. So again, not going to take the time, we're running out of daylight a little bit, to go into a whole lot of detail here. Mainly what I want you to see and what I want you to hear from is the terrain itself, not from me. I've given you just the overview of the attack going forward from here. But I want the ground to speak to you and see the kind of difficulties that they're dealing with, both in the assault as well as the approach. Now, Ransom's approach that I was telling you about that we couldn't get across is a little bit farther down. There are tablets just like these blue ones that that you can follow, but you just can't get across there because of some erosion. It's some pretty steep, you know, just absolute bluffs. But that's farther down. But the attacks actually take place up here. All right. Any questions on any of that?
I can hear the ground right from here.
You can hear it from here. You can hear it better down there. So now again, if we go across this thing, if you go across, you got to come back out. Unless, now conceivably, we got to go all the way around. We could pick you up on the other side.
Right, you just have to wait a while.
Yeah, you'll have to wait until we get back around. But drivers, okay, drivers have to come back here because you've got a vehicle.
This is Tillmanburg. So like we're looking at where we were this morning, the stockade was in, it would be we're looking at it to the left side.
Stockade ravines, he said, there.
Yeah, on the left side, so we're coming up on the left side. Where that Missouri and the Arkansas.
See, I'm so lost here. I know, the whole thing to me, I might as well be on television.
Yeah, I think the first couple times on this is here, it was hard just to jump because you can see it out there in the pillar. Look at that. Follow that. Here's I've come from the Missouri line down a little bit, but I've never come from this side.
Yeah. And I'd intended on starting to read them before I ever came here this year. Never got to it. And he's saying commercial based on so I guess Tim's got other sources that Have you read any of it?
I've read
all of Tim.
I've read the attack. I've read Bears a long time ago. And I've had to go back and read it again.
Was it good when you read it?
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, he's right in the sense that it follows the ORs, but it was a Marine, so it's very, factual.
Yeah, he said it wasn't as easy to read.
Yeah, if you know, you're reading it like an official report, like after action.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's very, we moved this way, we went over to this town, changed this. There's not a lot of personal anecdotes and quotes and stuff.
That's
like the way
interesting.
Tim writes.
I was wondering, should I get been thinking about getting all of his books, but we just hadn't done it yet. And those are all in hardback. We got one of the last edition. And actually, are all the hardbacks already out? I mean, they're not going to be making any more. No.
I was holding on to that. Afraid to let go of it.
I'd hit you in the face.
Maybe we could get Brian to
Very well.
What I'm trying to do is it's off of Stockade Advantage, Forlorn Hope Cut. You know, that splits in two. And so this is that reef. We don't want to top it because we'll have to go down again.
The longer we stand here, the longer we'll go out. The wind pushes you in.
Use the cane, it is your friend.
When I went across,
It's alive.
Yeah, by the time they get here, they're going to be okay.
That, in fact, we're closer to the park road through there than we are going like we're going here. We're going diagonal, so this could very well be. I think probably it's a forward parallel. What I'm talking about, not the line of circumvallation, but forward parallel toward the Confederate lines.
It's pretty much anything that is referring to trench or approach referring to siege time.
Yes.
As opposed to attack
yes.
time.
There's a little bit of digging in by the 22nd, hardly any by the 19th. So anything you see trench, that kind of stuff, there's very little of that on the 19th and not much more on the 22nd. Sherman only begins digging on the 23rd. Okay. And Grant actually issues orders to begin siege operations actually on the 25th. So that's when they really start digging. But you know, if I'm here on the 19th, 20th, 21st, whatever, and they're shooting at me, I'm gonna get behind something kind of thing. So it may be unofficially from those days, but this looks more like a parallel.
Trench that we saw.
Did you see that?
We slowed down over there, yeah, and you can see it really good. So that would be an approach, right? They're trying to work
Yes,
their way
that is that's a sap or an
digging their
approach.
way
Exactly.
closer.
You got 100 acres.
Was that authentic or was that dug by the CCC? 'Cause that looks pretty
That
good
was
shape.
manipulated a little bit as well. Yeah. But the foundation of it, you can see kind of how these exact. Is that it, Perry?
This is the road.
We didn't lose anybody?
Nope.
Wow.
I don't think anybody even fell.
I gotta up my game here. You didn't get that, did you, Tony? It's not a real hike unless we leave one or two behind.
Well, I have to take them up to the car.
They were heavy. A lot of them are walking. Here, Giles Smith's approach, online of Giles Smith's approach. They said it about 3 times. There, you can see a little remnant of it right here, and then when we get to the Missouri Monument, you'll see the end of it up there. But there are more tablets on farther down that, it was funny, I referenced this this hiking thing that we did, all the approaches and all the assaults. I think this was one of the last days, and those guys and gals, they were absolute troopers. But by the time we got to here, this is one of the last ones. They were done. And I think I remember I'm the only one that went down there. The rest of them stood up here and watched me go down there. But anyway, there are other tablets that go down there. Okay, let's just go right up to the Missouri Monument where you will know where we are.
Andy said Missouri. He said Missouri.
Anyway, on the last day, after 5 days, in the morning on Friday, they come in at 6 and after the last day, they probably said it will.
All right, that's Johnny Smith's tablet. I got Johnny Smith. Johnny Smith.
Pants probably, they never had red pants, they were snagging blue. Yeah, I think they're still wearing their zoo off jacket. Not for the boys, the guys that Peter down in St. Louis.
That's pretty neat, isn't it?
Third gallery.
Depends on what it is, depends on your attitude when I talk to you.
Okay. All right, all you Missourians, y'all can pay homage to your Missouri Monument. If y'all don't know how to spell, somehow y'all put V's in there in Missouri. I'm not sure how to get a V in Missouri.
Tim, you know why that is?
Is Latin something to do with Latin?
It's Latin because there is no U in
No
Latin.
U in Latin, yeah.
But you may be right on the spelling.
You never. Hey, you know Arkansas's state motto, don't you? Literacy ain't everything.
Oh wow, that's impressive.
I'm going to use that. But,
all right. For those of you that may not want to go back across the way we just came, the caravan will pass this point if you're lucky.
If you're nice to them.
Life's about chances, so take your chances here. Now, we will pass back through here, so if any of you just had it today and done, hang out here. I wouldn't fiddle around behind the monument. We'll miss you, but be down on the road there, and we'll pick you up as we go by. For those of you that want a second taste of what we just did, we'll go right back. You drivers
we
have
need
to go.
We need a picture at the Missouri Monument.